What's up, home slice?
Yo.
You like the new prompts?
Oh, sure.
Want to mix it up a little bit. I love the usual topic, so it's still kind of in there, but I think changing the way that you phrase it and adding some other things that are like adjacent, it helps keep it fresh, you know.
Yeah, I need to figure out I don't know. I know that I want to specifically talk about, whether God exists. But I keep thinking about trying to do other topics. I just can never really think of another one. Talk about, because I used to do this. The Christian God wants you to be evil.
Right. I used to put up. So this source is in OBS here. Let me see if I can show you. When I first switched back to using Studio, I had. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I can show you briefly. Let me turn this off real quick, because I just have it in the Studio. I have. Whoops! Whoa, it's all fucked up. I used to have this up.
Sure.
You know, which is like I would get atheist guests, talking about usually the moral thing, but I got people talking about all sorts of stuff. Like, I do like the free will topic. That's one that I'm like, that's one that I think I'm very solid on, because you don't want to talk about things that you like aren't prepared to talk about, and yeah, I think that one is just like pretty good. Pretty good. It's fun. It's fun too, because like it's really easy to show the contradiction in it.
Sure.
Yeah.
What was I just?
You were talking about having different prompts, but you also just really
No.
love the
Sorry, I was listening to this lecture series, and he was talking about free will, and there was a really interesting argument, but I don't remember. I wrote it down, but now I don't remember what it was, and I only have it on my phone that I'm on. So it was like, oh, damn it, I lost it. I thought I had it. I don't remember it. Okay, well, that was a story about a thing that I can't tell you about. So wasn't that exciting?
Yeah, and then you found $5. My guitarist would always say that
So
whenever
I
he
was
would
in the
tell us a
park.
story that's ultimately just like a you had to be there. Instead of saying you had to be there when nobody reacts, he just said, and then I found $5 to like at least make it a little bit interesting. Like, oh, nice. Hey, Pettyfog is here.
I
To
gotta.
anybody who's just
Okay,
getting in
now I have
here,
to go.
we haven't really started yet.
Sorry.
We've been live for almost 4 minutes, so thank you for coming in here, being here early. Let's get the taps up. If you guys are a follower of mine, help me get some likes in here real quick. Helps push the stream out. Also share the live out. We can get more people in here. We can have some conversations. That's why anybody who's here is even here, so that we can have these conversations and think about these topics. Yeah, what do you want to say?
I'm gonna go off the app real quick.
If you
I gotta
dare.
find this argument.
All right.
It's gonna bother me.
If you let me cook, I can prove God is real. That just depends on what letting you cook entails. All right, let's see. Let's bring up Cloud. Hey, Cloud, are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm in my 40s.
Word, what God do you believe in?
I am a Catholic, a confirmed Catholic based on this.
You said you're
So
or you said you were a priest?
I
You cut
try
out for a
to.
second. Did
I'm
you
a
say?
confirmed Catholic-based omnist.
Oh, okay. Sure. So you wanted to engage with the first prompt, if God is real.
Yeah. So my religion, which is true omnism, believes that every religion is a puzzle piece to the bigger picture. Okay.
Okay.
And in order to find or reveal God's face, you have to take out human ego from the books, including mythology. I mean, if you go back to every single story and you take out the names and you correlate them chronologically speaking, it's all the same thing, and they're all going back to the same exact books. So everybody knows the Bible, correct? So if you go back and use the Bible as a timeline, it lines up to the Anunnaki story of creation, to the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is Genesis, from to the story of Babylon. Yahweh is God's name. Yahweh's name is also at the very first creation story ever. Why do we have religion if there's a God?
I
He
don't know that
actually
there's a
lived with
very
us.
first
God
creation
is
story
in
ever. Like, I don't think
Genesis.
that the one from Genesis
Yes,
is the
there is.
first
Google
one.
it. Google it.
Okay, let me look it up.
No, it's not. Google it. See, the Bible is a watered down version of the Anunnaki story. Everything after that is human. Everything else, or everything after that is a human story. And we're not going to get into Jesus. That's a whole different concept I don't want to touch yet. But yeah. So if you go back and actually look at it, everything goes back. So Noah's Ark happened 11,000 years ago. That's a true event. Okay. It goes back further than that. Like the Anunnaki. If you look at the story of Genesis, out of all the stories, it reads like a child's story, right? That's because
real
he's
quick. When
literally
you say
talking to a
Anunnaki,
6-year-old child.
is
He
Anunnaki
created.
like is the Anunnaki the aliens thing? I feel like I recognize that.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Oh, have I talked to you
But the
before?
Anunnaki is in every story ever. And it's all the same stories. It's all the same stories. Look it up.
So
Like
is this
if
saying
you
there is no
Google true
single first
omnism,
creation
I
story
started
in all
off with
religions because
parameters,
creation
the
myths are
actual
ancient,
standard,
diverse, and often orally
the first
transmitted
creation
for
stories.
thousands of years. However, the
Yeah.
oldest living written creation myth is the Enuma Elish from Mesopotamia, dating around the 12th century BCE. It describes how the gods created the world from the body of the primordial giant Tiamat, and how the Marduk defeated her to form the heavens and the earth. So, where's the so the
Tiamat is
Anunnaki would
actually the planet that blew up when it hit Jupiter.
be okay. This
The
sounds
Anunnaki is who created us. So God
okay.
1
So
is the
can you
Anunnaki.
just like
God
we'll just
2
start
is
with
the
the
one that
Anunnaki
we
thing.
actually.
Let's just start with the Anunnaki thing, because
Okay.
Anunnaki is your claim that you claim the Anunnaki. It's like an alien race, right? I understand that correctly so far.
Yes.
Okay, so Anunnaki,
Yes.
this alien race created us. What can like demonstrate that? Like, can you show me that that's true?
Okay, so I was getting to that. So I tried to make a standard for ancient text description anyways, but it ended up unlocking this. So if you go through and Google hashtag true omnism, you'll come across my Reddit page. If you go to my Reddit page, there's a thing called the Jackson parameters. That will tell you if you put that into Gemini, all it does is gives it, hey, these are the rules. That's it. It doesn't change anything. So what you do is you take your names out of the Bible's stories, any stories, down in mythology, and it's all blatantly telling you the same stories.
So if they're all telling me,
It's all the same.
I mean, okay, let's just grant for the sake of argument that they're all telling us the same stories. Like Zeus having Heracles out of wedlock is the same thing, same story as like Jesus Christ or something somehow. So let's say that somehow works and they're all telling the same story. What does it matter if they're all telling the same story? How does that prove that God exists?
Okay, so here's where the puzzle pieces come in. Each religion is basically holding a piece of the human bioengineering experiment. So we're going from like Christianity down to Buddhism. They all hold a piece of the puzzle.
Because they're different
And
perspectives.
all it is the whole. And so God 1 is the Anunnaki. God 2 is who we worship, which is the tribute and the mourning of our creators leaving. And there's to hold their words so we can find the technology in their stories. So we can use that
I
to
mean,
go
it
find
just
it.
sounds like it sounds like you're taking all of these religions and because they have different perspectives, you're saying that they're all parts of something that you're assuming is univocal. Because some things will just contradict each other, like
Actually, it doesn't.
Islam
If you
and
take out the
Christianity.
names and chronologically stack them, they don't.
No, here's the
Everything
thing.
else is human ego, bro. Everything else is human ego. If you
Here's the
just take
thing.
the stories of
Hold
God,
on. Can I say something quick? Um,
no, go ahead,
my
bro.
my issue here is that it just seems like this could be, even if like all the stories are connected as much as you want them to be, this could easily be explained by the fact that like people travel and stories travel with them, especially in a time where the only thing really like that you have to like only stories. We are a story driven creature. We are
Okay,
we
so
love
it's
stories.
kind of like a
And
car accident and five
if those
witnesses.
stories are being spread orally all throughout the world by people who travel all over the place, of course they're going to have similarities. And as time goes on, new stories are going to be taking ideas from the old stories, but then adding new ideas to them. So there will always be those similarities. Like this is exactly what we would expect
Yeah,
if
it's a
this is like
very
a
shitty
genre
version
of
of reverse.
storytelling. It's like if you watch an old horror movie from the 70s and then you watch like what they were like in the 80s and the 90s and so on, you're going to see the trends and how they develop and refer back to things that came before. So there's no reason for me to think that this couldn't also be the case of how these stories developed and why they seem similar to each other.
That's exactly why. Is because it's just like a car accident, bro. Like five people have the same exact car accident, but somebody's going to focus on the noise, somebody's going to focus on the glass breaking, somebody's going to focus on the injuries, somebody's going to focus so on and so forth. Like if you take the names out, which is the human ego, you'll find God's face.
All right. Well, anyway, man, thanks for coming up. I don't know where to go with that. I don't think that there's a conversation to be had. It
I
seemed
feel like
very
you hit on the
woo.
exact right point, and I feel like I made a good addition to it. So I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
I
I'm
wasn't
glad that you
going.
said that. I feel like you said that in your life too. That's kind of crazy how like the same thing comes up. Oh no, we were talking about language, or were we talking about speech similar? No, he was bringing up the same stories, right? In your life, he was talking about like the stories are similar. Oh, it was like pre-continental travel, like intercontinental travel, and you were like, well, this is like as old as human history, and you wanted to how the stories would have gone with them
Yeah.
to the different regions. Hey, Mog, are you at least 18?
Yes.
And what God do you believe in?
No, I just wanted to come on here and just say thank you. Y'all are out here doing God's work. It takes a special person to talk to people that actually believe in talking donkeys and talking snakes and people turning into salt.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could agree. Like God's work seems to be proving that he doesn't exist. Like that seems like what he's the
Yeah.
most good at. So if that's what we're doing, I would agree. Like, we're like we're the
Exactly.
hand of God here.
Nah,
That's interesting.
I tuned into Ogar's stream earlier and decided to give you a follow and tuning in now. So
Well, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for following Ogar. He's great. And thanks for
yeah.
joining us over here in I don't know what we're gonna go the absurd circle or some shit. What did I call the fan club? Like the Lobers or something? I can't remember. It was a while when I said that.
Loopers.
The Lobers, the loop. One guy called me a donut the other night, and it's still like in my head. We could be the donuts. It kind of fits with the rings I have in my
All I
lobes.
can think of now is Gordon Ramsay. You fucking donut.
You fucking donut.
Talk
The
about
That's funny.
donkeys.
the
But
lobbyists, maybe.
feel free to kick me anytime because I don't know how to leave. So
Sure.
but
All right. Thanks for coming up, Mog. By the way, Mog, Mog is the same. Like, MOG Mog is man of God. So like when somebody
Oh,
comes up
really?
here, yeah, and then like
I didn't
LOG
even
is
know
Lady
that.
of God, Log. So if somebody's not reading your name and hears me call you Mog, they might think I'm talking to like a man of God.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Just
I'm
letting
gonna
you
change my
know, like
name.
you don't
Yeah,
have to
no,
change
no,
your name.
I'm
I just want you to be aware of that.
gonna. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
one. Have a good
You
one.
too.
Yeah, I love that Lady of God is log. I think that shit is so funny. Like we've got a log coming up.
I'm a proud log.
I'm a proud. Well, they're like log. What's that? Because they don't know these terms. I was telling my friend who like knows that I do this, but doesn't like he's never tuned in. He doesn't even have TikTok. Well, we're on YouTube now too, but he hasn't really checked it out. He heard about these terms like what is it? There's Exmo for ex-Mormon. You've got Mog. You've got Log. Log tickled him too. Hey, whoa! Thanks, Bob, and thank you, Mog. Thank you for that. The Room Mother. It is literally called Room Mother. I thought you were doing a Winnie the Pooh reference earlier, Ogar, when you said Room Mother.
No, I was just reading what it was called. I thought it was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I fucks with some Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. Anyway,
Dude, somebody
guys.
came up earlier that had a Calvin and Hobbes profile picture.
Oh, whoa. That's a
I had to
blast from
nerd
the
out about
distant
Calvin and Hobbes
past.
for a little bit. Dude, I
Yeah.
love Calvin and Hobbes so much growing up.
Yeah. But you know what? One thing I really like about the Winnie the Pooh ethos is House of Pooh Corner, the song, not like the original literature. I think Looney Leftist, I think is a friendly here. Hey, Looney Leftist.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. I know I've talked to you before. I can't remember. Are you an atheist?
No, I am atheist.
Okay. All right.
So I
Cool.
believe in a god.
Okay. Well, I don't
To
take notes
clear
like
things
Ogar
up.
does, and maybe I should. But what prompt do you want to engage with today?
Um, hmm. I guess the most interesting one is why bother with prayer? I kind of thought of a reason why to bother with it, but I'm still kind of working it out in my head too. Um, is your argument just basically God already knows and is going to do everything, so praying is unnecessary because it's already going to do something?
That's one of the things I would say. Yeah. I mean, I would also my position as an atheist is like, people will say just cry out to God, pray, and I'm like, well, I don't think that there even is a God, so why would I bother? There's that. Like I think that if there's a benefit at all to be had literally from it, it would provide you whatever meditation can provide you. I consider prayer to literally be a form of meditation where one is like fooling themselves into thinking they're talking to the God of the universe, which admittedly I think is kind of narcissistic, but whatever. They're talking to the God of the universe. The God of the universe cares about them, and they are telling themselves what they think God is saying. And it sometimes has positive benefits, right? Like it has positive effects. Sometimes people get a lot of comfort from it. Um, but if you think you're talking to God, I don't know why you would get anything, like why you would even try, why you would bother. I don't know why could get how God could get stimulated from a relationship with a creature like us, and I don't know how we could benefit from praying to God other than just the pure meditation benefit that you could get.
Hmm. Yeah, personally, I've had some really weird experiences with prayer. Some of it, like, I prayed and I had an event happen that resolved the issue that seemed to be, like, not miraculous, but quite a coincidence. My whole spiritual experience involved me asking for it at first, which I know confirmation bias, there's no way to get beyond that. But
It's good you're
I
checking
think
that out.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
why should I bother with prayer in your view?
the only real reason that I can come up with is that there is something out there, and if you give it a chance on something that you are especially in a foxhole about, maybe it could work, maybe it won't. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Prayers are pretty
what would
inconsistent.
what would it working look like? I mean, depending on the prayer. Like if I guess that the easy example is like if I'm asking for something, like God, will you please make this happen, or please give me this, or prevent this from occurring, or something like that. Like what would it working look like?
Hmm. It really depends. My personal prayer, it had an immediate answer, but it's kind of too personal to talk about, so that's out the door. But one of the strategies with prayer that can unfortunately be mistaken with just things going your way coincidentally is like if you're getting a surgery, don't pray for yourself, pray for your surgeon to do a good job.
Okay, yeah. So like,
Uh,
say you pray for your surgeon to do a good job. If God answers your prayer, what exactly does God do?
he just guides the surgeon's hand, I guess, and the surgeon does a successful surgery.
So God would be like puppeteering the surgeon's hands. He'd be like taking control, kind of. Like God would be the one performing the surgery.
I wouldn't say not literally, but maybe it would put a good surgeon in your way that came out of near nowhere. Obviously, not nowhere, but just a bunch of fortuitous events happening. But
But like if you got
for
the
like,
surgeon and you're about to go into surgery, the surgeon's already selected. You pray for the surgeon to do a good job. That's not the same as praying for surgeons. Like in this example, you're praying for the surgeon to do well, and you said he would be guiding his hands, but you said not literally. So if it's not literal, then what? Like in what sense is God even guiding his hand at all?
I don't know, like the closest way that I could explain it is just by re-explaining myself by putting a good surgeon in your direction. Like, I don't think a god is literally going to guide his hands. That was just some poetic language.
So if a God puts a surgeon, we'll do that one then. If a God puts a surgeon in your presence, like a good one, what exactly is he doing to make that happen?
It saw that somewhere down the line, someone would pray for a good surgeon, and it just set things up going back from the beginning of time just for that one surgeon to show up. Like, not to get too into my prayer, but it involved like very fortuitous circumstances, like to the point where you can obviously call them coincidences, but if God was involved and you knew that from the outset, like it would come across as a huge sign of God if you're leaning
It
in that
sounds like
direction.
okay. It sounds like so God from the beginning almost sounds like you're positing like a deterministic universe, which I mean I'm a determinist, so this kind of makes sense to me. God is setting up the universe in such a way that he makes sure that the events that lead up to your surgery are all exactly the same, including making sure that you say this prayer. So obviously you wouldn't really have like the free will as to whether or not you make the prayer because God would have like preordained from setting the foundation of the universe that all of these events that led up to it would occur perfectly so that this could happen, including you praying and him fulfilling the prayer. He did that like a priori. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, beyond that, I'm beyond a determinist. I'm a predeterminist. I believe that we have some kind of local free will where it looks like we have free will, but if you can go far out enough into like the celestial spheres, whatever those are, and you can see God, you'd see that all of your steps are laid out
Right.
before you.
So it almost seems like in your view, I think that we would share a view that if you decide to just never pray, then that was all a part of God's plan, and you shouldn't bother with prayer because if you do bother with prayer, that's the only indicator that you ever should have from like from God's standpoint. Like if you should do it, then God would have set it in motion that you do it. So if you never do it, then it's preferred from God's perspective that you just should not ever pray.
And if you do, it's already marked in front of you.
Right, like if you pray, then God is basically showing us that he wants you to pray every time that you pray. That was all according to plan. If you never pray, then it was according to plan that you never pray.
I think there's another even more like powerful point here, which is that under this conception, prayer doesn't actually have any causal power whatsoever. So like even whether you're preordained or predetermined or however you want to put it to pray or not, the prayer isn't actually doing anything in the process of making the thing happen. So like it's either already preordained that you will pray or it's not. Either way, that has nothing to do with whether you get the thing that you want.
Right, yeah, that's a really good point too. Because God is not thinking, I'm gonna make sure he prays so that I can give him the answer to his prayer. It's more like like God can give him the answer to the prayer regardless of if the prayer is actually ever uttered or even conceived, because God would not be constrained by someone's mere request.
Yeah, and one of the things that I feel compelled to throw in there is like multiverse theory. If God like knows everything, it knows every timeline, and it can only usher you down certain timelines. And like prayer can be a life-changing thing if there are these timelines, but that's pretty abstract, and we don't have proof of multiverse, unfortunately, as far as I know.
Hmm. Well, did you have anything else?
Let's see.
It feels like we've kind of reached the end of that. Like I think we kind of agree on that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with your logic to an extent that if you don't pray, you're not going to get tangible benefits. But I think that if you do pray in certain situations, you are going to get a tangible benefit because you do believe and you did that prayer and it was preordained.
Yeah. Did you want to
So,
engage with another
yeah, whether or not you
another
should pray,
topic
I
or
guess. Is God good? I guess. I think we talked about this before. I look at God as being everything, so I don't look at it as being entirely good.
right. Yeah, like yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, if God is everything, like if God is literally everything, including me, including like my butt. I mean, yeah, like he would be all good and bad. I wouldn't even put a label on him as good or bad if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would say that
Yeah,
like he's strictly good. Okay.
Yeah, I like to label it as a type of blue and orange morality, but in my view, it also reflects the people of the time. So basically, if you have a bunch of brutal desert wanderers in like ancient Canaan, like their god's gonna reflect that. It's like semi Feuerbachian, where there's a need for a god and they created a god, but I think that they're actually drawing from something. It's just they're not drawing from it from this optimum utopian standpoint because they couldn't do it back then. Instead, they do it like a bunch of warring desert wanderers. So in a way,
Right.
what we attribute to God's
I mean,
malice
it
is a
feels
reflection
like
of humans.
it feels like your conception of God is not even what I would call God anyway. So I honestly don't know what more there is for us to talk about. To be honest, there, Looney Leftist. But you're like pretty
For
cordial,
sure.
you know. Like I think that this has been fine, you know. I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, this is about where we ended last time, with us agreeing too
What
much.
can you do, you know? Like what can you do? All right, you have a go, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ogar. I don't know if you're aware, but the notorious Deathless Light is requesting. He says he wants to debate you in a space where you can't run. Now, I have a question, because we know how it would go, Do you want to bring up Deathless Light so that he can do his usual like um call people names, crash out, and declare victory thing, and then we all like laugh at it, or what? Like, what do you want to do, or do you think it's even worth it?
I just don't see a purpose to it. It's all he's going to do is come up here, beat on his chest, uh, ask us how it feels to lose, and then we're not going to ever get anywhere. And like the last time that I actually tried to have a conversation with him, he didn't have anything, like he wasn't even talking about a god. He's just talking about like maybe some like, I don't know, metaphysical thing that I don't really care about anyway. So it's like I understand that he wants to debate his topic, and that's fine. It's just not the kind of topic that I debate.
Hmm. Well, now he's spamming chat. Oh, Looney Leftist is Goose. Well, I can't pick you back up,
No,
Looney Leftist. I
no,
just.
no. It is. It. I will. I will get. I will. Every one of you, if you say duck, duck, goose, I will come to your house, and I will. I will. I don't know. I'll like take the mayo out of the fridge and put it on the counter. All right. It is duck,
I
duck, gray duck.
I don't even know like what we're is this like a thing?
That's what they're saying in this in the comments. Duck, duck, goose. Because he's saying duck, and so people are saying goose, like duck, duck, goose.
Yeah.
But the game is duck, duck, gray duck.
Oh, okay.
Do you not know the game?
I've only ever heard it as Duck Duck Goose, but
What are you talking about?
I don't know if I'm
You're
being
all
gaslit.
heathens.
Anyway, so I'm
You're all
I'm
heathens.
gonna bring up somebody else. We got another person requesting. Hey Jacob, are you at least 18?
Hi there, how are you guys? Thank you very much.
I'm great, thank you. You at
God
least
is
18?
real, yes.
Are you at least 18? Jacob?
Yeah, with you.
Yeah, are you at least 18?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, you have to be an adult to talk, so I'll let you go. Thank you for the honesty. He looked like he was at least 18 from the PFP. I wonder if he understood the question. Well,
Yeah, I thought so too.
we do have another person requesting, and I guess Deathless Light gave up. Hey, it's Murtimus, right? Murtumnus? Mr. Tumnus. Fuck.
Mr. Tumnus.
That took way too long. Mr. Tumnus. It's because it's all one word, that's why. Alright, are you at least 18?
Yes, sir.
Right.
I'm 33 years old.
Nice. Vintage 1993. That's what the 93 is. I know stuff. So, what prompt do you want to engage with tonight, Mr. Tumnus?
Well, I like sporadically just enjoy like listening to these lives. Are you looking for opposition? Or are you looking for agreeance? Like what typically this evening are you looking to get into?
I'm looking to get into a discussion or a debate about these topics. Oh, we got a bot raid.
So I would say I primarily so I can
You're breaking up really bad.
Fan.
You're breaking up really bad.
I don't have my earbuds. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it looks like you got really, really bad
Okay,
signal.
go ahead and jump off and have a good night.
All right, Tumnus, you have a good one. And another one
Hey,
bites
seems
the
like it's
dust.
going to be a good one.
That's how you do that. All right, let me see who else we've got in the guest queue. Thank you to all the bots. We appreciate y'all around here. I don't know what this does to the algorithm. If it's ultimately beneficial, then like good. But if it messes it up because they're bots, then this is like terrible. Either way, at least
I
helps
don't
me
know
look
what
a
to
little
think
bit
about it
legit.
either.
At least we temporarily look really legit, you know. I'll bring up this next person and I'll get myself. You know it's beer time, right?
Nice.
Well, Lubes is getting a beer. Yeah, Lubes is getting a beer right here. Didn't you hear that boy Lubes is getting himself a note of beer? Yeah, so you should get one too. I said it's beer time. Yeah, it's beer time. Whoa. Flippity flappity flapping door below, below, below. Bitch. Hi. What kind you get? Ooh, that shit looks good. Yeah, baby, yo. Bitch.
That's right, it's beer time. It's beer time. I hope you guys grabbed yours. Okay, so Cash, Spencer, are you at least 18?
Yes, I am.
What prompt do you want to engage with tonight?
Honestly, any of them. Either of them is fine, you know. I believe in God, and I believe that God is good. And yeah, I do pray a lot.
Well, it's your pick, man. Which one do you think is the most interesting to you at this moment?
Honestly, I'll do is God good?
Okay, so your position is that God is good. Am I understand that right? Okay.
Yeah.
How do we know that God is good?
So I believe in that God is good because of just the origin. I believe in the Bible, whole Bible. I personally am a Protestant. So, you know, I see people debate, you know, they bring up Christian history, you know, and I just feel like that just has nothing to do with God or like Christians specifically. Like, I don't believe that, hey, just because, you know, people bring up the Crusades a lot saying those things were evil, but I just don't believe those things like are directly from God.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, 'cause you could say that, like, if a Christian does a bad thing, then that's not necessarily God commanding them to do. I understand. Now, when you say you believe the whole Bible, how are you reading it? Are you reading it and saying, yep, all of these things that are happening in the Bible that are prescribed by God, maybe not described, but prescribed, I agree with because of my moral intuition or something that's going on? Or are you, like, reading it and being like, well, this is in the book, so it just must be good. Like, if God does it, I'm going to align my values that way.
It's a mix of everything, honestly. I'm very adaptable, flexible. I'll read a thing. You know, the Old Testament, there's so many reasons, you know, and so many stories of, you know, God placing his judgment on cities, people, countries. And, you know, those are crazy things. You know, I'm reading it, but I know that he has a purpose for those things. And that's why I know he loves us all.
Okay.
I genuinely do believe that and knows
All right.
us.
So do you think that if somebody loves somebody, they would kill them?
Depends. Because there's so many different reasons for that, you know?
Like, we're children of God, you know, he loves us all. Would you ever, out of love for your child, kill them?
I mean, depends on what situation, you know? Like, are they suffering?
Like,
you know, they could be.
Maybe, or we'll say your grandchild, because I think that the example I'm going to give works a little bit better this way. Let's say that your son, he does something really bad. Let's say that he, like, cheats on his wife, for instance. So, like, your daughter-in-law, he cheats on his daughter-in-law. Would you, as a result, like, kill your grandson, his child? Do you think that that's, like, inappropriate? Like, would that be a loving thing to do, or would you say that's evil?
No.
You would not say it's evil?
Wait, no, I would say it's evil, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I have my Bible ready. We can all turn to 2 Samuel. This is going to be chapter 12. And I'll start in verse 11. Thus says the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house, and I will take your wives from before your eyes and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in broad daylight. For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all of Israel in broad daylight. Then later down there it says, nevertheless, because by this deed you have utterly scorned the Lord, the child born to you shall die. Then it says, the Lord struck the child whom Uriah's wife bore to David, and became very ill. It says some other stuff. Then it says on the 7th day the child died, and the servants of David were afraid to tell him. So there's something that I didn't mention. I forgot. This passage actually has God use a rapist punishment as well. But I was talking specifically about the killing the son of the person who did the bad thing. So we would agree that if you kill somebody's son for something that they do, that's evil. So in this verse, God kills somebody's son for something that they do. So that would be evil. And if you're off the app, I can't hear you, by the way.
Apologies. Yeah. No. Yeah, I understand that, but in context, the reason why yes, I question those things a lot, but at the end of the day, I just take in context to me that God is all
What's the
powerful.
context that makes that good? What's the context where it's good to kill someone's child because they did something wrong?
Well, I'm not saying that like it's morally good. I'm saying it's
Okay,
good.
so God
because
is evil then.
No, I'm saying it's good because it's God.
No. Is it okay? So is there a context where it's good to murder the son of someone who has done something wrong?
I mean, if it's in the Bible, if it's from God, yeah.
Okay.
That'd
Okay,
be
so
my reason why.
if God,
Like if
if God
anybody
can do-
told me to,
Hey,
like there's the famous.
Cash, if God can do something that you already before we said this is a thing God did, you agreed that was an evil thing, then God does it, and now you're not so sure that it's evil, and it's actually probably good because God did it. If that's the case, if you're willing to throw away everything you think about morals just because of what you think God's opinion is, if that's how far gone you are, how would you ever possibly know if God was actually good, or if you had just completely sold your morality out so far that you're willing to believe anything is good just because it's associated with a God you like?
Is this like special
that's easy.
pleading to like something that's like poisoning your moral intuition? Yeah. So answer Ogre's question real quick. Sorry.
No. So the reason why I can, it's not me like saying like, kind of ignoring it. I don't want to say that. It kind of does sound like I'm saying that.
It's just that
but
your
it's
special
more of-
pleading is what you're doing.
Yeah, it's more internal because I know what
You just need to explain how you could actually tell if God was bad, because you're now willing to say that you'll throw away what you think is moral or not moral for in preference of what God thinks. So if you're saying that I will completely empty my head of moral thoughts and just go with whatever God says as being good, how could you possibly know that God is actually good?
because I
Then
know.
all you're saying is God could be evil, but I would just think it was good.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about life. I know what he's done for me personally, and that's why I believe
Okay.
him.
Well, if God punished you by killing your son, would you think that was good?
I wouldn't believe it was like good, but there are so many stories in the Bible where so many suffering
Okay, if it's
things.
not good, then what is it?
It could be an experience. It could be a test.
No, what moral character would that action have? If you cheated on your spouse and God murdered your child for it, what would be the moral evaluation of that act?
How would God murder my child?
He would
Just the
strike
same way
him
that he
with
did in that story.
an illness. He struck him with a deadly illness, and after a week of suffering, your child would die.
Yeah, but that's not like God.
Well,
say
the
in
Bible
this
says God does
hypothetical-
that.
It does say that God did it in the Bible. So in this hypothetical, God is doing
That's
it.
a hypothetical.
No,
I don't.
It's not a
I
hypothetical
don't
in
care
the
what
Bible.
you think.
It's
I
not a
don't care what
hypothetical
you
in the
think.
Bible. It's not a hypothetical in the Bible. You said that you believe in what the Bible says.
Yeah, and then you just
this is
made
not
up a
hypothetical.
situation.
Yeah,
So,
because
like,
we're trying to test your values here, and we're trying
Yeah,
to see if we
I
can do a
understand.
reductio, right?
because
So we're
everything
asking
was
you, if God
perfect
were to
at
do
the
to
time.
you what he did to David, where he kills your son with a deadly illness for fornicating, then would that be good? Like you said you would not say it as good. So Ogar's question was, if it's not good, then what is it?
Well, the question is, God murders my child. I'm not saying if my child had an illness,
The illness would
I
have been
would just
given to the child by God. We're doing like a
Yeah,
one-to-one
just
thing.
stand 10 toes down on what you believe and tell us what your moral evaluation would be if God punished you for infidelity by directly causing your child to die. What
Yeah,
would your moral
no,
evaluation be?
Cash, honesty is
okay.
the best policy. So just whatever you are
I'm
honestly
I'm
feel
trying to
about it.
talk here, and you just keep interrupting me. I can go. So basically, what I kind of take in from that information is that, like, let's just say in the Bible, whatever, God did put an illness to my child and died. I'm not gonna say, hey, this is great, this is good, God's
Just
good,
answer the question,
awesome,
dude.
this is
What is the
good.
moral evaluation of that action? Just get to it.
No, because that's not the point.
Yeah, exactly.
If
It
I
is
I
was
the
to
don't
say,
want to
point.
actually answer the question.
it's
It's a
I'm too
direct
scared to
question.
answer the question.
it's evil, and then boom, we close
Cash,
the
it is a
book.
direct
There's
question.
so
I mean,
much more
because
context to it.
if you're thinking that it might be
There's so much more
evil, that's
context. This is
valuable
a
information
child
for
dying.
us.
If a child dies, I'm not just gonna say, "Oh, it's
No,
good."
it would
I'm
be a
gonna
child
grieve
being
for
murdered.
my child. I'm
It would be a
gonna
child
yell at God.
being
I'm gonna
murdered.
be angry at God. I will pray to Him. I will say, "Why do you do this? Why are you doing this to me, God? Why does it have to be me?" Of course, because I'm
But what would your
human.
moral evaluation of his action be?
I would be confused. I would be evil.
Yeah,
I
give
would
me-
be like, dude, what is going on? This
Is
sucks.
God good or evil for doing that action?
Oh wow, he's evil. There you go. Wow. But I
Okay.
know he is good. There is some
That's
way
a direct
that
contradiction to what you just said.
Yeah.
and how.
Because you said he would
Oh,
be
he's
evil if
evil,
he
but
did
he's
this, but he's good. Because we took something that you think is a real event from the Bible and just applied it to you. But you said it was good when God did it to David, but he would be evil if he did it to you, I guess, because he would take it personally, but David's like not you, so it doesn't matter or something. But like God does this in the Bible. If this action makes him evil, he can't be good.
But he is all good. The reason why you are kind of twisting it is because you are adding a situation, a hypothetical, to
I know God does evil
to me
things,
in the
but he
Bible.
is all good.
It's a one-to-one comparison of the story in 2 Samuel that I read to you.
No. Yes.
Well, actually,
but
he
the
doesn't
thing-
have your wives raped, so we left that part
The
out.
thing-
I guess it would be a
the
little bit
thing-
better
Yeah,
situation.
we
You
actually-
got off easy.
In the hypothetical, we actually made God less evil.
The thing is, those things, these illnesses, they don't come from God. They come from the chaos.
The Bible
do.
says it comes from God,
the
my
Bible
guy.
literally. You want me to read it? I can read it again.
Yeah.
He just refuses to listen to what the Bible says. There's nothing that Christians hate more than what the Bible says.
Yeah, like so.
I
I'll
love
just,
what the Bible says.
I'll just read it. Like it says, "The Lord struck the child whom Uriah's
Sorry,
wife
hold
bore
on.
to
Can you,
David, and it became very
I
ill."
apologize. Can you tell me thing again? I swiped out.
We're saying that God does cause these things.
No, sorry. I meant the verse that you were reading. I swiped
Oh.
out of the app. My bad.
The one that I just read, it's 2 Samuel 12 verse 15. Now it starts in a weird spot, like it actually starts, "Then Nathan went into his house," and then like mine has a title of another paragraph, and then the verse continues, "The Lord struck the child whom Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became very ill." So it's kind of weird, but like that's the verse I'm reading there.
And then this is going to be, well, the words don't actually mean what they say. Or let's go to the original language.
Yeah. Which I don't think any of
Anything
us
but
here
actually
read it.
engaging.
I mean, pretty much every Bible, probably every Bible that has been translated says something like this in it for this passage. I don't know how to translate, from Hebrew or whatever language this was originally into English, but we leave that to the experts and they give us stuff like this. So, but we'll see. We'll
I
see
feel like
what
the
Cash
people
has
with
to
the
say.
PhDs.
Yeah. So, did you just? Oh, he's gone. Are you checking out the verse yourself? Maybe he's getting a
Yep.
beer at his beer time. Beer in a teacup. That just feels wrong though. Especially because there's steam coming off it.
Sounds like a weird dinner party, I guess.
All right.
Okay, so
Yes.
did you
Yeah,
check
go
out
ahead.
the verse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so God does these things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we agreed
So
that this would be evil,
yeah, 100% because I'm a human.
right?
But again, like the Bible says, I have to like trust him because he is all knowing. He knows everything. He sees things that I don't see. And I believe that this passage is telling us just basically the harms of being sinful.
It's only harmful to be this sounds like somebody in an abusive relationship. No, he really loves me. He just gets mad sometimes, and honestly, it was probably my fault.
Oh, yeah,
He won't
that
do
Yeah,
it
is
because
again.
it is my fault, dude.
That is,
Because he
yeah,
always
man.
comes back. Because it
Cash,
doesn't
like
matter.
this,
Dude,
like
I
this,
sin.
this really like it. I'm being sincere with you. I don't want you to think I'm being facetious here. When I meet people who are of the persuasion of Christianity that you are, like it sincerely breaks my heart. And I did used to be very similar to you because you are, like Ogar put it, you are basically in an abusive relationship with like an imaginary abuser, and you've got Stockholm syndrome for your abuser. And it's leading you to believe insane things like if God punishes and kills a baby because of something their dad did, that's somehow good because I was told by somebody in the book that he said that he's all knowing, so that means he is all knowing, and if he is all knowing, then I just have to trust him. But what if he's all knowing and evil? I think that if you have an all knowing and evil God, that God would do exactly this. Then he would say he's all knowing and he's good.
Well, then just look at Jesus.
What do
Look
you
at the
think?
character of
What do you think an evil God would be like? Like, what kind of actions would an evil God do?
I don't know.
Do you
I
think
mean,
that
if this is what a good God does, then I would assume that an evil God would make sure everyone's healthy, make sure everyone's happy, make sure nobody suffers. That's probably what an evil God would do if this is the example of what a good God does.
probably would not demand worship?
Oh yeah.
He would just be nice to people, even if they don't bow down at his feet.
Yeah. Well,
If we're
that's
just, like,
actually
flipping the
just
terms.
well, that's just the blessing of free choice. It comes with sorry, I'm blanking. Comes with consequences.
When you say free choice, are you referring to free will? Usually people say free will,
Mhm,
but in
yeah.
philosophy, there's a distinction. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Right. So I think that free will is the best and onlyest excuse for the problem of evil, but I still think it's actually terrible for multiple reasons. Because when you say that the preservation of free will justifies any action that God takes or that God refrains from taking, that just means that God prefers the outcome of anybody's free will act over the intervention of free will. Yeah, so but we don't operate like that. If I was in a room and let's say your kid was being attacked by a big sweaty guy with like a foot long strap on, and I was just there and I could stop it with no potential harm to myself very easily, but instead I decide to watch, and I tell you when you're mad at me that I valued the attacker's free will more than the free will of the victim or the well-being of the victim. I think that you would think I was sick. I mean, I can't imagine if our police acted this way. So they do probably sometimes.
The thing is, with free will, though, or with the dangers of the world, yes, it's the free will to do anything we choose and please to do is great, right? You guys would say that?
Well, I don't believe in free will. I don't think Ogar. Well, Ogar, I don't know if your position is still that of compatibilism, um, or
It's
not.
the one cope position I allow myself.
You should stop
Yeah,
doing
I
that, bud.
personally, I personally
I
believe we have a
know.
full free will, even with everything. I know people say, I truly, but 100% believe that free
Okay,
will
can I
is a thing.
can I
Yeah,
give
go ahead.
this argument that I okay. Oh shit, you don't believe in. Never mind. It's gonna have to get into theories of time, and it's not worth it. Never mind. It's just a derail.
So I mean, I have a few, I think pretty good arguments against the existence of free will. Um, Now we could say that we could argue against free will from like because I think that free will is impossible, but then I think it's like even worse if you posit God, if God's like a triomni type thing, and it's even worse if you talk about the biblical God because there's like verses in there that are all about predestination, and there's not a single one that specifically talks about free will. Because free will is just an apologetic made up by people to try to excuse the problem of evil. But I guess I can start with this one that I think Ogar, you were a fan of this one when I gave it last time. So there's a true dichotomy. Either the universe is deterministic or it's indeterministic, meaning either the universe has a strict cause-effect relation where there is no free will because our actions would be dependent on our priors. They would just be the effects of a prior cause. This is my view. I think that cause and effect is pretty absolute. So if you have an effect that happens like somebody taking an action, it's been determined by that person's priors, even like down to the smallest interaction in their brain chemistry. It's just cause and effect. That's my view. So there's no free will under a deterministic universe. Now, if there is an indeterministic universe, that means that there is a break in the cause and effect where something somewhere along the line is random. You could say that the universe is all random, or you could say that only some parts of the universe are random. But you aren't in control of the
Yeah, but
determining things. You aren't in control of the determined things. But you certainly are not in control of the random things, because if you were, then they would not be random. So either the universe is deterministic and you aren't in control of your priors that are determined, therefore you don't have free will, or the universe is indeterministic and you aren't in control of the random things that happen because they're random, therefore you also don't have free will. So in either case of this true dichotomy, free will is just impossible.
Yeah, but I believe that free will is only in yourself and in your mind. It's the free
I agree
will
with that.
is the kind of your personal thoughts or just your personal actions. It's nothing external. It's nothing, there's like a theory where like, oh, if you ask somebody a question and then you go back in time 5 seconds, ask them the same question, they'll say the same thing every single time,
Yeah, like if that's the case, then so if they say the same thing every single time, then there is no free will. But if you were to say go back in time and everything is exactly the same, if you could rewind the clock, then you could have done differently. That would be an indicator of free will. If you could have done differently, if we wind back the clock where everything is exactly the same down to the smallest little subatomic detail, even like the speed of the particles in your brain, the thoughts that you're having, the opinions you're having, all those things being exactly the same, you could have somehow done differently. That would be an indication of free will, which I think is absurd.
Yeah, but the thing with free will is as well is I believe that even though I do believe like God is in control, but I do believe that I'm in control as well. But I believe that everything has a reason, like
Yeah.
my story, whatever, anything like that. So free will, basically, what I mean is like, maybe you see something previously in the day, to maybe sway your answer, to a question. So like somebody, I know there's like the famous, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I don't.
So if I ask you a question and you like what I was saying earlier, where if I go back in time and ask you it again, you'll say the same thing. So what I'm saying is, if I ask you a question, I don't think that you like seeing something earlier in the day or earlier in the month, and it sways your opinion. I don't think that's something like predetermined, you know. So I believe in like free will,
Well, it's either
because I believe
determined or
that
it's
it's the
random.
choice.
It's either cause and effect or it's not cause and effect.
Yeah, but what's the cause?
Just whatever it is that's in question. Like the cause of me like raising my hand is it's, I guess it's a combination of things. It's like me wanting to give an example. That the effect is me pulling up my hand. Also, like if you want to be like biological, my brain sends electrical signals through my nervous system to the muscles in my arm, lifting my hand from the like under my knee to up by my face. Like there is a cause and effect. There's no randomness. And I only did this because it was determined I would do this because I'm having this conversation with you and we're talking about free will. So because we're talking about free will, I want to give an example of how we don't have free will. Therefore, I lift my hand. And I was always going to do that from the beginning. If there's a beginning of time, ever since then, it was always determined by the causal chain that this moment would occur, and I would raise my hand up for this example.
Yeah, I do believe that, because I believe we only have one life. This is it.
Yeah,
That's
then
it.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, then you would be a determinist if you agree with that. Where there's
So
no free
this
will.
actually, okay. So this, remember, I've talked about this twice now. This argument, I finally figured it out. Okay, exactly what we're talking about right now. We're saying that, like, you know, this deterministic thing. If things are deterministic, right, like that, then we can say that there are true propositions about future events, right? Like, because things will play out the way that they'll play out, so there are true propositions about future events. But if there are true propositions about future events, then that means that there are truth makers for those propositions. But the truth maker for a proposition about a future event would be the event itself, which means that in a meaningful way, that future event exists. But if future events exist, that means they can't be different. And if they can't be different, then the causes that bring them about can't be different. And if the causes that bring about future events can't be different, then libertarian free will has to be false. So
Oh.
actual free will can't exist.
I've never heard that one before. That's a really
That's
good
good.
argument, Ogar. Wow. I gotta add that
Dude,
to
I was
the
listening to
arsenal.
this lecture and I remember writing that down, and I brought it up earlier and couldn't remember it, and I found it. And
I'm
that,
glad
yeah,
you found it.
love
That was
argument.
really. I'm gonna have to. Hey, I'm gonna clip that. That was really good. I got more.
Yeah, it's
I
a
got
good
more
one.
like arguments against it too. If you want to, if we want
I've
to
thought
keep
about that.
like bashing
Yeah,
free
but
will.
the thing is with free will, dude, I just think it's me. Like,
It's like,
if
well, it's
like that,
you're
raise your hand.
experiencing.
That
You're
was me.
experiencing. Yeah, like you were the one. You were exercising your will to raise your. Like I'm exercising my will to raise my hand. It's just not free. Like I can
Why
do.
is it
I
not
can do
free?
because it's determined for me. Like I can do whatever I will to do, but I cannot will what I will to do. You don't get to choose what you want to do. You are always going to do whatever you want to do the most, unless it's like you're forced to, or you do something by accident. But neither of those cases are you exercising your will, right? Like an example of this is like choosing your like there's two flavors of ice cream in the fridge, for instance. Like there's say there's chocolate and there's strawberry. Your favorite's chocolate, so you want to eat the chocolate more, so you'll always choose the chocolate until you're like, you know what, I want to exercise my free will and choose the strawberry instead. But that just means that you want to exercise your free will, allegedly, that you have more than you want to eat your favorite flavor of ice cream. So you just have a competing want that outweighed the other one. And you will always do whatever you want to do the most. Like going to the gym, you don't want to. You want to sit on the couch and chill, but you want to be disciplined and get gains more than you want to be lazy, right? There's just like you, and you don't get to choose what your wants are. Your priors determine those for you.
Yeah, 100%. But I just don't. I just still. I just don't understand it. I mean, yeah, as humans we have favorites, yeah, but I just believe that's all free will. I can choose any decision, any different decision I want at any time,
That's what I'm
and I
saying.
don't
You
think.
can choose whatever you want. You just can't choose what it is that you want. Do you understand the distinction?
Yeah, a little.
Like, because you want something, you will do it. Like, because you want to do something, you will do it, unless something prevents you. And you don't get to choose what you want. So since you can't choose what you want, you're not in control of that want. That want manifesting in your mind is out of your control, and it will make you act. And you
How
perceive
is that
it
out of my?
because you are in control of your priors. They're either determined or undetermined, and we've established that you aren't in control of either of those.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it's all internal. It's not external. It's nothing. Everything is like, yes, everything is chaotic in a way, but it's like an organized chaos. I feel.
I think that what I'm saying is kind of going over your head a little bit, and that's okay. I think to try to explain it further, we'll just be repeating myself. So I'll try a different route. If there is, let's say like if God exists, right? If God exists and God is all knowing, and I'm not going to say necessarily that God is the cause of your lack of free will or your actions. But God's knowledge would negate any free will that you have. So the example goes, um, if you are faced with a crossroads between a choice, you'll say you have choice A and choice B, and you're thinking about it, you're weighing the options, and like God in his omniscience knows for 100% fact that you will simply choose choice A. Can you prove God wrong and choose choice B?
No, because he's all knowing. He's already seen
So
it.
choice B is not even a possibility. It's impossible for you to prove God wrong and choose choice B when he knows for a 100% fact that you'll choose A. Now, if there is 1 trillion options, and let's say you sat there and weighed all of them somehow, God knows you're going to choose option number 69. It's impossible for you to prove God wrong and not choose 69. In the same way, you can't choose B and prove him wrong with A. So it doesn't matter how many options there are, it doesn't matter anything. There is only one real choice that you can make. It's the only possible one. If there's only one thing for you to do in any given scenario, it's like you have your list of options of 1 trillion options is an illusion. You have one option, and you have to do that one thing. You cannot do otherwise. You will always do whatever God knows you're going to do. It's determined.
It's not determined though. It's not determined. It's just God sees it. He's in a place out of time. We are in the present always.
But
And I
I think
believe
that
that's
it's
what.
actually. I don't think that you can say that because remember, God is the all knowing creator of the universe, which means prior to creating the universe, he knew what universes he could create and he knew every single thing that would happen depending, in each universe that he could create. So he knew the universe where you would choose A. He knew he could create the universe where you would choose A, and he could create the universe where you would choose B. He chose to create the universe where you would choose A. He knew going into it when at the moment of creation, he knew that you were going to choose A. So somebody did have a choice there, but it wasn't you.
Right, and this is like because he had God. We'll say that, for instance, God has the choice between choosing between creating this world or that world. Under this world, this person will choose this total set of choices. In this other world, he'll choose this total set of choices. And this we can tie this back into the original topic we were discussing, which is God good? Now, we can say God gives free will simpliciter or something like, which is kind of in the face of all this. It's just a name. It wouldn't be free will in the same way that we understand it. But we'll say that God is giving us this quote unquote free will. It's like diet free will or something. And he could make a world where everybody has this, but everybody chooses to do a perfectly moral thing 100% of the time. He's all powerful, so he can just do that. Or he could create a world where it's like ours, where sometimes people will decide to like kill people or rape people. He's like, between the two options, choose to create the universe where people always make the right choice out of their own free will, or make the universe where people will make sometimes terrible choices out of their own free will. I'm going to create the universe as God that they make the bad decisions in the universe I create. I think that's preferable. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if God is good, I cannot fathom him making that decision.
Yeah, but the thing is, with your decision, like what you said with choice A and choice B, God knew all the universes or whatever. The thing is, I don't believe God is all knowing in the way that he sees like every. I mean, maybe he does just see like every universe he could have created, but he created specifically this one that we're living in, and I believe that is awesome because that shows his love for us, and that's why he's good.
What that
Because it
means,
makes me think.
what that
It
means,
makes
Cash,
me
what that means,
no. It makes me understand
Cash,
that
what that
these
means,
things, all these
Cash,
bad things that
this is
we
very
think are in the
important.
Bible are things that happen for a
Cash,
reason. Because if any
You're
other
just
thing,
trying to run away so hard right now.
Cash, like, this is important. Like, if God knows all the possible universes, God has the power to create like this world or that world. God could have created a world where cancer is just an impossibility, but he thought that it would be preferable to create a universe where millions of people, maybe billions of people, die of
okay,
cancer.
but
That's preferable. And
yes,
you say that's because he loves us. I think that's absurd.
but how does he choose who lives in that world? That's the thing. There are so many bad things that happen in this world that that cause and effect that you did. All of these cause and effects that happen in all these prior lives is the only reason that you exist in this world. It's the only reason I exist in this world, is the only reason this other person's
It's
exists
the only
in this
reason
world.
Hitler exists in the world.
Yeah,
God decided, hey, a world with Hitler is better than a world with no Hitler.
that's not what that means.
That is what that
He
means.
Oh,
doesn't
so
he doesn't go
so you're
he
saying
doesn't just
so you're
go
saying that
say,
God didn't
"Oh, I
intend
want." He doesn't
you're saying
choose
that God didn't intend for the Holocaust?
God didn't choose the sperm cell that would go in the egg and then just
Oh,
grow up. That's the free will.
sperm cells have free
God
will,
knows
but we
everything
don't.
and God's in control, but he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know it all, and he's not in control. Got it. I'm glad we cleared that up.
This is it's a little crazy. All right.
This dude is pivoting more than a Beyblade, man. He's twisting around faster than a Beyblade.
Let it
Because
rip.
these things aren't
Yeah, dude.
these things aren't yes or no conversations.
No, you're just trying to obfuscate so that you don't have to admit how horrible the thing you call good is. Like, remember, we the only reason that we're even so far down now talking about like all this free will stuff and all these different arguments, like how many arguments are we going to have to give you for one position that you won't even engage in before you admit that you're just not interested in knowing whether your position is correct? You won't engage in any argument that doesn't agree with what you think already. So, like, of course, you're never going to change your position. You're never going to realize that you're wrong. You're never going to believe that you're wrong. You're always going to feel like you're just being cornered because you just won't actually engage with any of the things that are being said to you. Like, how many arguments has Loeb's given you? And I've given like at least a few as well.
Like
You haven't
Cash.
engaged with any of them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Cash, when you say like, how does God make
Well,
the
guys,
decision who
here's
lives
the
or
thing.
dies?
I'm not just gonna
Cash,
deny
hang on.
my
Let
faith
me just hang on, Cash. Let me just like
from
finish
you
real quick.
too.
So
Yeah,
like,
you get it,
if you're saying like, how does God decide who lives or dies in these worlds? And I'm thinking like, it seems like God would just decide on a whim. Because everything external to the universe, if it's just God, there's no other factors really. It's just like, there's no greater purpose. I can't imagine what God would be doing, what the purpose would be, other than just a whim that he has. Like, he's just got this will that he wants to create this, so he does. And that seems absurd. Like, if you consider the fact that, or if you consider, let's say, the possibility that God just doesn't exist, or at the very least, God is unconcerned with his creation, it makes so much more sense with the world that we have. Can you at least
How
like concede this?
you? Yeah. So you're trying to say that God doesn't care about this world?
No, I'm saying that the consideration of that
Mm-hmm.
possibility or that God doesn't exist makes a lot more sense when we see the world that we have. When we experience that there are natural disasters that cause unnecessary
Yeah.
harm, cancer, people getting away with all sorts of atrocities and things like this. It doesn't really make as much sense if there is an all good, all powerful, all knowing God that could prevent it, has the power to prevent it, knows about it, and would want to prevent it, but doesn't somehow. It makes more sense if there's a God that just doesn't care what's going on, or if there's no God. Like the latter two make so much more sense than the triomni God being present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 The reason I believe in God is because in morality and like the good and evil, like the thing that we were talking about earlier and all that stuff. But yeah, natural disasters happen. But if God didn't exist, then nothing matters, you know?
Well, that's certainly a position you could take, and I am pretty nihilistic I mean, I'm an absurdist, so I have nihilistic foundations for my existential
Mhm.
philosophy. So I can see where you're coming from. Not everybody has that view. I think that
Yeah.
purpose or something mattering, I think that's subjective. I think that's something that we give to things. Ultimately, I don't think there is a purpose. Ultimately, I don't think that anything matters. It only matters at our level where we consider what matters to us, individually or as a group. But hey, man, we've been talking for a while, and I think this went better than I was expecting it to. It was a little. I think that Ogar's critiques are valid. And I think that you should consider
Definitely.
like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
consider what
definitely,
we've said to you
100%.
tonight. All right, like when you're
Yeah,
when you're going to
100%.
sleep,
I'm
like lie
just
awake at night and think about it. Like really think about it. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just not gonna deny my faith. You know, my faith is kind of like it's behind many iron walls. You know, just because I can't. You know, you bring up good arguments, 100%, and yeah, those things are in the Bible. But if if the Bible was corrupt, they probably would have taken that
Cash,
out.
Cash. Okay, there's something that's
So,
really important that I want to say before I let you go. You said that
yep,
you are not going to deny your faith, and I wouldn't want you to like just flippantly deny it. But when you're considering the things that we've said to you, if truth is a priority that you have, you ought wager your faith and say, I'm not going to allow my faith to bring a bias into my critical thinking about this topic. Because I think if you don't wager your faith, you're really saying that you don't have that much faith at all. Like God's truth won't reign supreme in the end. And if you do wager your faith, that means you are trying to cut out as much of your bias as possible to really critically think. And I think that if God gave you the capability to reason, he wants you to reason well, and that includes removing bias. So I would encourage you to do this and think critically without the bias of faith. Make sure that if you come to a conclusion that you already wanted in the beginning, that you are extra critical and skeptical of that one. Make sure there's no bias in there. Make sure that it's actually logically sound how you got to the conclusion, okay?
I'll try, man. Hey, thanks for the great conversation,
Yeah.
guys. You know,
Yeah.
I'm young, I'm learning, so yeah,
Keep
great
learning,
conversation,
Cash.
guys.
Yeah, thank
I
you. You
will.
have a good night, man.
Yep, God.
Oh, he was trying to say, I'll finish it. God bless. Yeah. All right.
They
Thank you
always
for your
got to get
finger.
that in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, I think he was trying, but yeah, it just I don't know. I just wish that we got more. Well, that if it was on my life, I would have been an absolute asshole, and I would have held his feet to the fire. So
Yeah. I just, I want the conversation to be productive. So, if he's not, I think we have made him fuck, dude, I can't talk. I think we have given him something to think about. It seems like he's admitted to that, so he does believe it to some level that we've made at least some kind of good points somewhere along the line. And one thing that helped me is whenever I say wager your faith, when I wagered my faith, not to scare people who believe, but like I lost my faith, But like
Yeah.
that's how you know. That's how you really get to the truth of the matter, or at least you know that you're not implementing bias that's unwarranted. So I think it's really
Yeah.
important to do that, so we can hopefully help some people get out of this.
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing, man?
hey, bro, how are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Good, man. Are you at least 18?
Yes, sir. 19.
All right, fantastic. So what prompt do you want to engage with?
The third one.
Sure. Why should we bother with prayer?
Well, whenever I've been in therapy for a couple years, I also took a couple psychology classes, and during that, my point of prayer has always been, even if it's not rooted in faith, because I've had times recently where, like in the past couple of years, where I haven't been Christian and I still prayed, just because psychologically it is proven that if you externally manifest and like reaffirm things, like just through words, like saying what you want, like I don't know, just saying good stuff tends to happen. Or I mean,
Yeah,
it
positive
reshapes your brain.
affirmations. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like a form of meditation. Real quick,
yeah.
are you an atheist or are you a theist?
Theist.
Okay. So like when you pray, you are literally like trying to speak with God.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, I do understand that there are positive benefits from prayer, but strictly from the sense that it's a form of meditation. And I think that it's a form of meditation that is ultimately not very good for ultimately not very good for the self, because you're like indulging in delusion where you're talking to yourself, but you think you're talking to the God of the universe. So I mean, I would say that if you get the same benefit from simple meditation where you don't have to like gaslight yourself or like trick yourself into thinking that you're best buddies with the creator of the universe, I think that we just don't need to do that one. We can still walk in truth and get the same benefit from meditation. So is there like another reason why we should bother with prayer?
Well, I mean, I couldn't tell you to bother because I mean, I don't know if it'd be the same, but for me, just because I have pretty deep rooted beliefs that again have been shaken by a lot of things. I can't say how deep the beliefs are, but it is kind of like last guy was saying, how it's like iron walls, how it's hard for me to like break those, I guess. I don't know. For me, it's better than meditation just because it's putting myself into, because I don't feel like I'm having a direct conversation. I don't make up him responding back. I'm not having those type of conversations, but it does feel kind of nice to put myself in perspective that I'm tiny, I'm small in this grand universe, and even if it's not real, that I'm still like, fuck, I'm having trouble trying to find my words, but like I don't know, it's like talking to like someone that's just way higher and mightier that might not even be hearing my problems, but I'm still, I guess, humbly asking,
Yeah, so like the psychology, and I'm not a fucking psychologist or anything, but like as I understand it, the psychology behind what's going on there is somebody who might want to accomplish something, or like whether it's like get over an addiction they have, or get gains, or put in the work to be like disciplined, whatever it is, they don't feel like they have the power by themselves, so they manifest in their own mind a God that is able to make that happen. Through God, all things are possible. So God's going to be able to help you overcome anything, and that gives you like a placebo to now you believe you can, whereas previously you didn't think you could. So I think there is a benefit to be had from placebos, but I just don't know how prayer is special from any other placebo. Like, I think you can still get that from, like you said, therapy, meditation, even a medical placebo. So any kind of hope or anything that's higher than you, like, if you understand it, also, like, you could just understand that prayer is a placebo and understand that it works and say it's really just a difference of me believing in myself, and it'll cause me to be like looking for solutions rather than not looking for solutions. And that's like, you could use just the knowledge of that and meditate on that and continuously remind yourself of that fact to get over these things. I think that prayer would just be rendered unnecessary. Now, if you think you're literally talking to God, this is just like a little different. Like, I'm wondering why talking to God specifically is necessary if you can do all of these things through other means.
I don't disagree. Well, where I come from, or my kind of general, I guess standing has been, is that I don't see the point of not believing. Like, I could be completely wrong, and after I die, I either get reincarnated or nothing at all. Who knows? But it doesn't do me any negative, really. So I don't see why not. I guess that's my whole philosophy is why not.
Well,
Right.
what if you could believe more true things and have a better understanding of the world and your place in it
But I mean,
instead
I've
of deluding yourself? Also, like if it's just like, well, I don't know what's going to happen and there could be a god, well, there could be any number of other gods. What if there's a god who hates gullible people and will only let atheists into heaven and then send all the people who are gullible enough to believe in a god to a super hell that's 1,000 times worse than all the other hells combined?
I mean, then that would suck, and that all comes from the fact that nobody knows. So I mean, there's no point of really.
Right, but hold on. But if there is a God and the God is good, then don't you think that that God would judge you based on how you lived your life and not whether or not
Mhm.
you were gullible enough to believe in something you didn't actually have evidence to believe in?
hmm
Right. So it doesn't matter if there's a good God. It doesn't matter if you believe in it. You'll still be judged, for the right reasons. And if there's a bad God, well, there's no reason to do what a bad God tells you to do because a bad God isn't necessarily going to keep their promises to you that they made for doing what they said to do. So, like, either way, like if there's a good God, you don't need to believe because it won't matter. And if there's a bad guy, you don't need to believe because it won't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm in the same boat. I don't know. I
But
will never know.
I think truth
I don't have the
matters,
answers.
though. Like, I think that
Yeah,
we can hopefully all
and I
agree
don't.
that truth matters. And
Yeah,
like,
and here I wanted to actually say that I'm not. I don't let my faith, um, like as he was saying, like dilute anything. Like I still believe in evolution, the Big Bang. I think it's all can be like the
you're a
Bible's not a
science
literal
first
text.
kind of
It could
guy.
be. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna let the Bible say that. Like like if it's proven, like I can, like if it's a proven thing, I'm not gonna like. I don't know. I'm not stupid. So I'm not like a creation, like the world was created in 4 days type of guy. Like my point is, if the Bible doesn't get in my way of truth and life, then I don't see the point against it.
It does.
It would, yeah. Like, I mean, it would.
I mean, in what
Because
way? And I can tell you if I
so because
personally.
well, you would disagree because where I'm going with this, I don't know if this was Ogar was going to go, but like
Mhm.
you're under this delusion that you're speaking to God when you pray. Because in our view, obviously, we're atheists. God is not real, and depending on the type of God, it seems like it's less dangerous in your hands because you seem like you're a science first type person, and you are otherwise perhaps a critical thinker. But when it comes to your personal beliefs, you're kind of diluting yourself. So God, the concept of God can lead to senseless harm, where one person says their God holds this value, and these people over here say that God holds this antithetical value to theirs, and let's say both gods are not even real, they'll fight over that like tooth and nail. Blood is spilled, and it's just not pretty. When they could converge, right? They could if they just didn't believe in this thing. And your belief in God, I don't know anything about you, but your belief in God could just be very mundane, very passive, very whatever. But if you are walking around and saying that it's true, that like the Christian God is real, and things like this, it comes to the point where maybe you convince somebody else that it's real, or you reinforce the belief of somebody who does think it's true. They might not be as passive. They might take it more extreme and say, well, he's right about the Christian God existing, but he's wrong about the Bible being not exactly all true. Like the Bible clearly says that we need to be doing all of these things, like we should reinstitute slavery for instance, or we should like stone women if they have sex outside of marriage or something like that. This is like a very real possibility. This comes to people like making policy, like you shouldn't get married if you're gay because the Bible says that it's an abomination, and obviously that's infringing on people's freedoms. If religion is not true, we should not be elevating it as if it is, even if your beliefs are mundane and on their face from you as an individual, not necessarily immediately destructive, they can open the door wide open for other people to feel justified in causing harm while they think that it's good. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying, but there's also, I mean, that could be used in any, and I mean, there's echo chambers and like extremists on every far right, like, or like side. Like you could say that about identifying with any political party, and you might agree with me on this that if you identify with any political party, you can do the same thing with extreme left and right, and then enable those people to do the same thing. So I mean, I get what you're saying, and also
Sure.
I try.
But this is why
Sorry.
truth is important. Like because like while it's true that there's extremists in every walk of philosophy, religion, anything. Like you could be an extremist about virtually any topic. That's true. But if we put truth first, we'll at least have a more well-informed understanding of how to make our decisions. Like if let's say we were all of the persuasion that there's no God and we were correct, then we would all have this truth understood, and we wouldn't have any more religion-based wars. Like, yeah, there'd still be wars, but it'd be over other stuff, right? We would be removing one entire category of war, for instance, or people. There are some people who won't take their dying kids to the hospital where they could have been saved because they believe in the power of prayer, right? Like that's one of the reasons why I put this stuff up here, like the prayer topic, because some people put so much stock in it as if it does something, and it really doesn't do anything more than what meditation does. Yeah, so I think that if we could be wrong about there being a God, I think we shouldn't assume it. I don't think we should propagate it because it could lead us to really bad outcomes.
Yeah, I guess that's your point. I can't argue against it.
All right. Did you want to talk about anything else? Did you have anything else for us?
I would love to. You're the only person I've talked to on live that hasn't been an absolute. Can I cuss on live? I'm not. I say the D
you
word.
better fucking not cuss on my.
You're the first person I've talked to that actually like conversates as not a dick, so I appreciate that. But I do have work in the morning. I got work at 5 a.m, so I would love to keep talking. But good conversation. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna drop you a follow. Have a good night.
Good night, bro. Oh damn, yeah, he split. I like bro.
He bailed fast.
Yeah, I was about to. Usually I drop, even when they say they're leaving, I'll usually do the honors and kick them. I couldn't even like click for the menu of options to pop up. That was fast. I did like bro though. Bro was very nice.
I wanted to start talking about moral evidentialism.
Maybe you'll have an opportunity with Migi or Miji. Hey, is it
Hello,
Migi?
mine.
How do I pronounce that?
Oh, it's Mija.
Miji?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Hey Miji, are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 20 years old, man.
Okay. What prompt do you want to engage with?
Yeah, so I just have a question, if you don't mind me asking. And you too, Ogar. I would like your thoughts on it. I wanted to know y'all's opinion on the tag argument, because a lot of people say that supposedly proves God. I just wanted to see what y'all's thoughts on it are.
Yeah, I mean it's if you ask, I think any atheist that's familiar with it, they'll just tell you it's a presuppositionalist argument where you have to assume the conclusion.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I think what it really boils down to is that it's an attempt to take like a yardstick from inside their worldview and then measure other worldviews to see if they line up.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to do a critique of other worldviews from inside their own worldview without being willing to even consider the fact that if someone doesn't hold their worldview, then they don't have the same commitments. Because they have a commitment to a worldview that tells them that certain things need to be grounded in certain ways. And that's fine. That may be the case in their worldview. And there are a lot of worldviews that ground certain different things in different ways. But just because they have a worldview that says truth or knowledge or whatever has to be grounded in a specific way doesn't mean that that's actually what every other worldview needs to do in order for it to be a legitimate worldview. So all they're really saying at the end of the day is your worldview doesn't do what my worldview says
Right.
your worldview is supposed to do. They're not actually saying there's something wrong with your worldview.
Yeah, usually it does kind of boil down to like what Ogre is saying, where like essentially, you don't know your grounding for X. I have an answer for the grounding of X under my position, so you need a grounding for it. You can't think of any alternative. It must be mine, and that's like really silly. It's incredulous even.
Yeah, I do agree. Are y'all familiar with the S5 axiom argument?
I
You
don't
talk
think
about the
I
modal
don't think
ontological
so.
argument?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, what did you call it? I don't think
Yeah.
I've heard it called that.
The S5 axiom argument.
Well, I think the reason that he's calling it that is because of the Joe Schmidt and I think it was Alex Malpass or somebody else, I don't remember. They put out or maybe it was Dan Linford, I have no idea. They put out a paper about the modal ontological argument and showed that in the S5 modal system, both the modal ontological argument and the reverse are valid, and if you go to other modal logic systems, only the reverse works. So like that's kind of
Okay.
I know I run that response to the modal ontological argument, and I've seen other people talk about that as well.
Okay. Yeah, the modal
Yeah,
ontological argument is, I think, just another circular one, and where you
yeah.
could, yeah, like you could just run it in reverse. I don't think it gets you to, God is real. You're like essentially defining something into existence.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And then with the not thinking about it, I wanted to ask you, what do you mean by why bother with prayer? Like, I don't really get it.
Well, yeah, so like a lot of people, real quick, it seems like you might be an atheist. Are you an atheist?
I would say agnostic, but yeah,
Sure, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I would
yeah,
consider that to be like an atheist.
yeah,
Why bother with prayer? People think that they can like change God's mind, but like you won't like get them to admit that. They'll say, no, you can't change God's mind, of course not. But like I could ask for something, and he'll do something different than what he was otherwise going to do if I didn't pray. And I'm kind of trying to like get them to see that prayer doesn't do anything, even in their own paradigm. Like if you ask God for something and he answers your prayer, he's only going to answer your prayer if it's within God's will, because you can't say, well, I wish for $1 million. Well, God's not a genie. He doesn't just like grant you wishes.
yeah,
It has to be within his will. Like I prayed for like my son to survive the surgery and he died. It's like, well, why would God want that? Well, it's God works mysterious ways. It's all part of his will. He sometimes he'll say yes, sometimes he'll say no, sometimes he'll say not yet, but there's always an answer, and that's kind of like it's unfalsifiable. But um, yeah, people will say that if they pray, there can be a real effect on God, but that doesn't make any sense. God will always only do what is already within his will, which renders prayer useless. You could not pray and get what you wanted from what you would have prayed for, or you could pray for it and you would have gotten it anyway because it just isn't in accordance with God's will. Some people literally pray, Lord, your will be done, and they just don't even some people don't even ask for what they want anymore. It's like God already knows what I want. He'll give it to me or he won't, whatever's in his will. So your will be done. But even saying your will be done, it's like that doesn't do anything. His will's going to be done regardless. He's just going to do whatever he wants to do. So there's no sense in praying. You can't
yeah,
it's, I guess a response that you could say to this if you're a believer is, well, it's not about getting God to do things or change his mind. It's more about just being in communion with him and just spending time with God. But I think that's kind of ridiculous too. I can't imagine um, being like stimulated in any way from a personal relationship with an ant. And the difference between me and an ant is infinitely infinitely wider than God's purview to ours. Like the difference between us and God is infinitely different than the difference between us and an ant. So I don't know how we could possibly stimulate a relationship with God.
yeah. That's fair enough. I agree with that. To be honest, I think it's just more of a thing that would make them feel better. I think that's the only reason why they bother to pray.
Yeah, it's
But
only for the
like what you said,
individual's benefit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to ask both of y'all one last question. Do y'all believe in the Big Bang, or do you think Earth was eternal, or like what?
Yeah, we hold the Big Bang.
Okay. Yeah. I think the Earth was. I think it was probably eternal, in my opinion. I don't know, to be honest, but that's just my
The
stance
Earth
on it.
itself or the universe?
Universe. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
well, the Big Bang is consistent with an eternal universe.
Oh, okay.
the Big
Um.
Bang is just talking about the expansion of the universe. Something can't expand if it doesn't exist. In
Oh,
short.
okay. Yeah, man. Well, yeah, that's all I had to say, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, have a good night.
I
Whew.
was going to say, I realized that argument that I gave earlier against free will also works for prayer,
Oh,
right?
restate
Because if
it
God
in the
knows,
context of prayer.
well, because if God knows true propositions about future events, then truth makers for future events exist, or truth makers for propositions about future events exist. Those truth makers would be the events themselves, which means those future events exist. If future events exist, they can't become different, which means that prayer can't make them different, which means that prayer can't possibly have an impact.
Yeah. Yeah, because your argument is basically a deterministic argument where the future is just set. So it would
Well,
work
because think
for
about,
free will or for prayer.
yeah, exactly. Because it's basically saying that, like, if there are true propositions about the future, then that basically like means eternalism is true, B theory is true, right? Because
Right.
the only way for there to be true statements about the future is for the future to already exist, and if the future exists, then that's just the same thing as B theory.
Well, I agree, but I'm wondering like if you could make an argument like let's say the A theory is true for like hypothetically. Um if A theory is true but determinism is true, then the present would just always lead to a determined future. I don't know, like, do you see
You
where I'm
couldn't
kind
say
of,
though that there are true propositions about the future unless the future exists, because
well,
a proposition being true means that it accurately corresponds to something that exists.
I think it could exist like conceptually, and then it becomes actual and it's accurate to the truth claim
Well,
made
I don't
about
think
the
it's
conceptual future.
I don't think you could say conceptual, because the only thing that can have things exist conceptually, as far as we know, is our brains, or maybe some animals' brains, other animals. But I don't think you could say that um, the future exists conceptually unless there was a God, and then the future exists conceptually in His mind. I think what you'd have to say is that it exists like as an abstract object of some kind.
I guess that's kind of what I mean because I'm failing to see the
But even
difference.
that just means that it exists. And if it exists, because like if the future is probabilistic and it isn't set, like it doesn't already exist, then there aren't true propositions. The only true propositions could be like about the probability of something. But you can't say like, I will eat lunch tomorrow. Because if it's true that I will eat lunch tomorrow, well, the truth maker for that is the event of me eating lunch tomorrow. And if that event, if that proposition is true, then the event of me eating lunch tomorrow exists.
Okay, what about what if we get like really simple? What if we say because I obviously hold a B theory. I'm just kind of doing devil's advocate. We don't have any guests, so like, what if we do like let's say A theory is true, and we can predict that the future moment will be um the next moment, I guess, because I'm trying to take away as much as I can. So it will be the next moment. That would be true. No? Hey, thanks, Christina the Godless. Guys, this is the first snail of the night, and we're an hour and 43 minutes in. Christina the Godless is a goat for sending a snail. You guys know it's my gift of choice. I don't know why you're holding out all the snails. Just be careful not to fill up the meter, or else I'm going to sing to you, and you don't want that.
I think that then you just have to say it's probabilistic.
But I
don't think that you can actually say like, I think that the true thing would be right now there's this probability this event will happen in the future, but you can't say I don't know. I think that there's a difference. I see what you're saying, but I think that there's
Right.
a difference there.
Because I think that like based on if A theory is true, like we have the present that exists. I think we could still make accurate predictions about the future. You could say it's probabilistic, but if the circumstances, we could say it's deterministic. If the circumstances are such that only one other thing can happen in the very next moment, like if let's say that like it's only possible that if I drop this, that it falls in the next moment. Um, like under A theory, that would have been like a true thing. If it is the case that it's only possible for this to happen because of the present that would have been the past once the future is actualized, it just wouldn't like the future would not have been actualized. But I think like the probability would have been like 100%.
Yeah, I think that. So what you're trying to say is that the probability being high enough for something happening, like especially if there was some way to calculate it to 100%, that probability calculation would become a truth maker for a proposition about the future, even without the future event existing.
I think so. You're very well spoken about this type of shit. I think that's what I was trying to say. That's like a much
That's
better
what
way
I
of putting
heard,
it.
and I just don't want to misunderstand or straw man
Yeah,
what you were saying. Anyway,
yeah. Yeah, let's pick this up. Oh man, Moxie, you look like an M&M. I love it.
oh, you're
Thank
fully
you.
right. What are you
Are
like
Yeah.
the caramel one?
no, it's just like, well, yeah, the caramel one, but like, you made me say caramel. There's also just the orange ones that have the chocolate in the middle. Hey, Moxie, are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 27. So, yeah.
Yeah, check. All right, well, what prompt do you want to engage with, Moxie?
So, I kind of wanted to talk about the first one a little bit. I recognize that, like, one of the biggest objections that you all have to God being real is the problem of evil, right?
It's one of them. I mean, it's just a specific God, right? Because you could say that there's an evil God that created the universe and he just wants us to suffer, then like, that makes sense, right? But like that's one God would be disproven by the problem of evil.
Right. So I wanted to ask what you all think of like the many worlds response to that. So, for example, God's created a number of worlds. World 1 has perfect utility. World 2 has slightly less than perfect utility. World 3, and so you go down. And the world we live in is one of these worlds. It is one that has just enough utility that it would still be created by an all-loving, like, good God to the fullest extent, because there is some more net positive utility than negative utility in this world.
Well, wait, are we talking
Just
about
as-
are we talking about the first prompt or the second prompt?
So, kind of like a mix of both, I suppose. I think second one primarily, though.
Okay.
Well,
I
I
just
think
wanted to
that what
get it
this
clear.
boils down to. I'm so sorry. I'm just immediately taking over, Lobes. I apologize.
No,
But
absolutely.
I'm still going to do it. I'm still doing it though. You can't stop me. Well, you could. So I think that what this boils down to is basically what you're saying is that, oh my fucking God, you motherfucker! I cannot believe. Okay, there's a backstory here, and you need to, Moxie, you need to be on my side. Lobes is a piece of shit for doing this to me right now. Okay, well, what I was trying to say is that I think that the only way that this argument works is if you're saying that morals are utilitarian. But I think that if morals come from God, then it seems like you kind of have to be a deontologist. So I don't see how you can like square that circle, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I just don't understand how you could be a utilitarian while believing in a God.
Well, not necessarily. So, my own personal beliefs don't lie with any specific religion, but I'm kind of the person who looks at Spinoza and is kind of like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, that like we all belong to one universe, there's a lawful harmony around us, and you end up in the same exact state overall after a long period of time. That's where I like have my beliefs, basically. So it's not the same as like an omnipotent, omnibenevolent God, but rather an infinite substance within the universe that we all revert to, for example. And then like, that continues down.
Yeah, but I don't. You were talking about like this all good, all loving God creating the universe. So clearly, it's got like extremely large amount of power, at least from our perspective, to create universes. So like, I guess I don't know. I just. But then again, like, okay, so yeah, I mean, the question I need to ask directly is like, what is your moral view? Like, what is your like meta ethical view?
What is my metaethical view? Utilitarianism primarily, like, is where I would
Okay.
go. I would say, like, God, if I had to, would be making primarily utilitarian decisions.
So it sounds like you're basically just saying like, this is a view that I like, so I'm just going to imagine that there's a God that agrees with me.
I think it's logically consistent to me. So it feels like if there
Well,
is an
logical.
all-knowing,
Okay, so then you're a coherentist about justification?
yeah, kind of. That's where I end up. Yep, exactly.
Well, yeah. I mean, then there's just nothing that anybody can say then, because you're not actually concerned with whether, whether your beliefs are true at that point, right? Like, I mean, you don't like that the coherentist view, especially like, oh my God, coherentism plus utilitarianism. Like, I just feel like you could be so completely disconnected from reality and still just be like, no, my view's consistent. Like, I don't know that honestly, like that combination is scary to me.
For me, like
I've never thought about that before.
saying that God is all good is rather like meaningless because there are so many different ideas that we have of good. Like you have this one meta-ethical view. Ogar is opposed to this meta-ethical view. I've got my own different moral framework than I guess. Well, my moral framework is probably very similar to Ogar's. We just like categorize it differently. Um, but yeah, then you've also got like God's purview. If God's real, then God would have a separate moral framework from ours. So like to say that God is good, are we talking about from our perspective? Or are we talking about objectively? Does it make sense to say objectively? If it's just from God's perspective, then does that even mean anything for us? I think to say that God is good and God does whatever He wants, it becomes like meaningless to us to invoke the same word good that we would use to describe morality, to say that God is good if God instantiates like many worlds where every possible world exists.
Yeah, that is a fair objection, I'll tell you.
I didn't mean to like overstep Ogar's
Oh no,
objection.
that's
No, I
no.
thought that was yeah. Yes, that.
I apologize for the
I
piano,
don't know.
but I would have done it again.
No, but I think that these are reasonable objections to what you've brought up so far, Moxie. So I don't know if you have any.
No, no, I think like it just like seems to be like kind of like an incompatibility with like what you view as the basic ethical theory that you come up with as compared to more like a more general like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be, like epistemologically, I'm going to be like some kind of foundationalist, and then, I'm going to take a ethical naturalist view, a realist ethical naturalist view, and so like, I don't know, like, are you even a moral realist? Like, do you think that like there's like it's relative?
I think I definitely think moral realism to some extent is true, but I think we definitely haven't figured out what what like the objective view of morals is.
It sounds like you're saying that like that almost feels like a vibes based argument because you feel like it's real, but we're not able to like substantiate it.
Yeah, so I mean like my idea is kind of like it's basically like I think utilitarianism is the closest approximation we've got, even if there is an actual system. That is that like you have to weigh consequences against like outcomes and like kind of calculate that. I don't have a perfect way of doing it, but I think that is like the closest we get to finding the most real form of morality at every question, basically.
Yeah, it feels like then you've just crafted a God that agrees with you so that you can like believe in the thing that you want to believe in and give it the qualities you want to give it, and then try to find a way to square that with all the horrible stuff in the world by saying like, well, there's other better worlds and this one was just good enough, or at least just good enough to be worth creating overall. Like, I just think that that's like, yeah, I don't know. I think that this honestly, genuinely, I think that this shows why utilitarianism fails as a moral theory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I'm sympathetic to utilitarianism. I don't think it's like a perfect thing. I think it's usually fine, but there's obviously like certain instances where it just doesn't work. I wouldn't say that I hold to utilitarianism necessarily. Honestly, man, and this is kind of actually I'm going to speak to Ogar for a second. Like, Ogar, I am sort of like flirting with the moral realism a little bit. I was thinking about it in the shower today, which is where I get my thinking done, and like before bed,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so I'm thinking about ethics a lot, and I'm not like I don't have the time to really do study, unfortunately, but I am thinking about it a lot. So my morals are definitely in a flux. I know like how I feel about things, and I think that's a valid component. Um, because that's how morality is done in practice. Is a lot of our
Well,
feelings are involved.
I'm about to read this book on ethical naturalism that goes more into it than the last book I read about it. So I feel like I'm going to have some solid arguments for you. This is
Sure.
supposed to be
Well,
like
my
one of
biggest
the better
hang up,
books on the
my
topic.
like biggest hang up. I don't want to like debate you on here, but like my biggest hang up with the like the argument that I don't remember what it's called, but the one about agency, grounding it in agency. Um,
Yeah, that Gaworthian one. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I think that it's a solid argument for like a foundation of morality, and I think that I hold to it. I just don't categorize it as objective, and the reason I don't is um, because of agency, you would claim a right, but I don't think that claiming a right gives you a right. Like you could just claim a right to
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, so I think that what ends up happening there, and I think that what ends up happening there is that because that whole agency argument is this like meta ethical view, it actually you kind of have to like get into like your normative ethical view in order for the rest of the argument to follow to where it like applies to other people, because you basically end up like you do kind of have to be committed to something like justice in order for the
Mhm.
rest of in order for the like uh in order for you to have motivation to
Right.
universalize it the way you need to. So I think that that is a reasonable objection to that argument, but that's an ethical rationalist position, and I
Oh,
personally think ethical naturalism is a better. I think that's more. It's more compelling to me, but I don't have enough grasp on it to like convince someone of that. But I feel like supposedly this book that I have that I plan to read
yeah, give
next
you some ammo. Well,
is
I would love to be like convinced of something new, right? Like especially if it's like the opposite of because there's either morals are objective or they aren't, and I'm still of the persuasion that they aren't because I haven't been convinced that they are. And there are great arguments so far. Like I think like I was on the verge of agreeing, you know, like multiple times over, and I've been like watching content about it and everything. So like I would love to be convinced of it, but only if like it actually convinces me, kind of thing. You know, I'm still a skeptic.
yeah.
Um, and so yeah, like if you get the ammo, definitely shoot me with that. I think our guest got bored, but that's okay. Um, now like, so what was I gonna say? Oh shit, I had something I was gonna say. Oh yeah, like with the what did you say it was called? The Gaworthian
Yeah,
argument?
there's the philosopher that that argument kind of derives from is Alan Gaworth.
Gaworth. So yeah, the Gaworthian argument for realism. I think like the reason I asked you that question in Discord about like something that doesn't involve an agent is because like I was thinking like, well, you could say that morals are you maybe could make an argument if you say that like this grants you a right, and if that follows that you get a right from agency, then it would apply to any agent. Like I see that. But what about like things that aren't agents that we would have a moral stance against? Is there such a thing as, yes, some of my morals are actually like I would say this is objectively wrong, but this is morally wrong and it's subjective. It's because of our culture. We think that this is fucked up from our culture. And you were talking about virtue ethics, so like there's virtue ethics mixed in there. I think I asked you like what virtues. Uh, I don't remember exactly how it went, but I was asking you a question about virtues. I don't think you got back to me, but it seems like there's so much that goes into ethics, and it's man, it's so irritating to meet an objective moral realist because usually they're theists and they say whatever God says goes. They're divine command theorist
Yeah.
almost always, and it's like the
Yep.
laziest form of ethics because here I am, um, as an atheist, wondering if morals are objective and trying to find out. Meanwhile, um, whatever God says goes, and like fuck you and I'm right from the other side. Usually, I've only ever heard compelling arguments from atheists about realism.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with that. I think that like one of the reasons why it gets so complicated is that like I feel like ethics is a place where the meta view and the actual your actual view are so like they're so parasitic of each other. You know what I mean? Like they have to align in a way that I don't think is necessarily the case in a lot of other studies. Like I feel like I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know, but I just feel like there's this like even if you're convinced of a particular meta ethical view, like that ethical rationalism of Gewerth, that doesn't really tell you like what normative view to take. And so then like there's so many things that like what normative view you take is going to feed back into that meta ethical view, and it just creates so many different um entailments, I think is the word I'm looking for. Like it ends up bringing you to different places depending on like how you pair those together. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I think that because like this is part of the reason why I'm like so like I think that ethical naturalism is appealing to me is because I feel like it fits better with virtue ethics, and virtue ethics as a normative view just seems so correct to me.
Right,
And
but
I feel like
that would be like a value judgment on virtue ethics, right?
no, what I'm saying is that like I'm convinced of the normative view of virtue ethics because I think that it actually is saying what ethics is what I think ethics is.
Now, so I notice a trend when people talk about ethics. We start already having an understanding of generally what's good and bad, and we try to justify it. Um, so like
Yeah.
I think that like what you're saying with the normative thing, that would make so much sense. What you're saying that the normative has to mesh with the meta. It really does because otherwise, if the meta turns out to be antithetical to what's normative, then is it even really morality at that point? Like I think that when we're talking about morality, when we call something moral or when we refer to morality, this is something like we've called this thing. We've defined it as a certain thing, and these things are descriptive. So, however people are utilizing morality, like for instance, if morals are subjective, if they are just value judgments based on priors, based on culture, based on biology, evolution, things like that, that's like my view. If that's the case, oh shit, where was I going with this? Um, if that's the case, oh yeah, if that's the case, we would still have morality. And I think that if most people are of this persuasion, that would still count as morality. It would be like a valid way to view morality, a valid definition of morality. Whereas you'd also have
Yeah.
this other form of ethics that's like a meta ethics that could potentially be objective, and it gets just like really weird because it almost feels like meta ethics and normative ethics should we call one morality and one something else because they are different. Like if one is objectively subjective and the other one is not, but they're still classified as morality. I'm just wondering, do we have a break in our definitions here?
Well, so I was actually reading a book about metaethics a while ago,
I'm loving
and
this conversation, by the way.
I know, dude, I have gotten so into ethics, and it's crazy. Okay, so I was reading this meta ethics book, and one of the things that the author was saying is like, over the last like several decades, this is like the lines between meta ethical views and normative ethical views have gotten really, really blurry. And like, I've only read one full book that was specifically on a specific ethical system, and that was on virtue ethics. That's the title of the book, on virtue ethics. But it even that was supposed to be this like normative ethical view, or the book about a normative ethical view, and like the last like, I don't know, quarter of the book, maybe almost the last third of it, was all on the meta ethics of the view. So it's like, I don't know. It just seems like the way meta ethics works, the way that we think about it now, like in current times, it seems like the two things end up being really closely meshed together. And then the other thing that you were saying that I think that we had kind of talked, well, I remember we had talked about this a little bit before, is that I think a lot of what it comes down to is like how you end up defining the terms. And so that was one of my biggest struggles when I was thinking like, okay, am I actually convinced of this like moral realist position, or do I just like it, or like whatever, or is it even meaningful because maybe it's just like word games. And I feel like it kind of is word games when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And I'll like happily admit that is like a part of it. Like if you just take like, no, I think that this is the job of ethics, or this is the job of morals, then like, I think that you kind of, that is going to guide what ethical theory makes the most sense to you, versus if you took a different position and say, no, I think this is the job. This is why I like virtue. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
this last thing I'll
it's
say.
crazy,
This is why,
dude. So if you're looking at what is the job of it, like why do we have them? We
yes.
all have them. Why do we have them? What's the purpose of it? When we look at that, it feels like it doesn't matter whether they're categorically objective or subjective, so long as they serve the purpose that we would say that they are used for. But if that's the case, I think that would just naturally place it in a pragmatic, even if it's not, whether it's objective or not, it would place it in a pragmatic state of an anti-realist view, where it doesn't matter whether they're objective or subjective. It's based on what they're used for, and that could be relative, that could be intersubjective, and if we aren't concerned with whatever might be objective about them, we're just talking about what's like normative, what's pragmatic, what the use is. I think that just naturally fits with it being it would be an anti-realist thing just by default, like on parsimony, I guess is like what I'm kind of trying to say.
well, I think what I would agree with would be to say that like, if I'm a moral realist and I think that virtue ethics is correct objectively, then if I can convince someone else to take the position that virtue ethics is correct, but they take a like emotivist, non-cognitivist view, or they take an anti-realist, like a subjectivist view, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, then I still like would consider that a win, because if I think that virtue ethics is the right ethical system, then it doesn't really matter if they think that it's objective or not. I just am going to think the world's a better place because they're now following what I think is the objectively correct ethical system. And I think that you're kind of right that even if you said, like, let's say let's say I convince you that virtue ethics, or someone convinces you that virtue ethics is correct, but you still think it's subjective, you're going to have the exact same opinion that like, well, it doesn't really matter that it's subjective. I am convinced that this is better. So I also want other people to think that virtue ethics is right. And even if they think it's objective and I disagree with them, at least they're practicing virtue ethics. They're being virtuous.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that you do kind of have a point there.
Wow. Hey, we've got a guest. That's cool. Hey, John
Yay.
Cat. Are you at least 18?
How are you? Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I'm 25.
Okay. Are you a theist? Did you want to engage with the prompts?
Yes.
Okay. Which one?
Is God real? I think. So I would hold to the idea that that there could be a God, right? Because what do I gain? What do I lose from believing that there is a God? Nothing.
Well, it sounds like Pascal's wager. Is that what you're running?
Right. Essentially, yeah. Oh yeah.
Pascal's wager. I think the only real use for Pascal's wager is within circles of believers to reinforce their belief like they've made the correct choice. But it's not really a convincing argument for somebody who's not already convinced because I mean there could be, if there is a God, there could be a God that would hate you for choosing the wrong religion and he sends you to hell, right? Like there could be a
Right.
God that's like only atheists get in because I'm trying to conceal my existence, and I don't want naive people who think I exist for no good reason to get in, so only the atheists get in, right? You could,
That's the
yeah.
contrary. That's the contrary of Pascal's wager. And there's another term for that. I don't know the exact name, but I
I
am
would love to
familiar
learn
with
this
that.
term because I'm going to start using it if I learn it. If you
Oh,
so if you remember,
I've heard people call it atheismo.
are you talking about
No,
me?
what?
No, that the god that will punish the gullible people. That's atheismo.
Oh damn! I thought that was just like a joke that had no like specific properties. It's just like the god of atheism.
Oh, I'd have to
But
look that
I'm
up if
gonna
that's
call.
a real
That's
thing.
fine. You know, we can call that atheismo. Sure. Like, yeah, atheismo is gonna punish you if you like believe in God, because he's like, shit.
You're fucked, man.
I'm trying to like make it look like I'm not real. These fucking people think that I am because they think they'll get something from it. You're not gonna
No,
get a dime out of me, you know? Yeah, atheismo. Yeah. So
honestly,
Pascal's
but
wager's not
I
gonna
think,
work.
well, for me, for me, all I can speak about is for me personally. I can say, that there's a point in which every individual, I don't care if you're the smartest person in the world, we don't know how. There's a point to where you can only go back so far to the start of life, right? And so beyond that, we're left to hypothesize anything beyond that point, right? And so with what we have now, it's either there is or there isn't,
Are you talking about
right?
biology, or are you talking about like the whole
Well,
universe?
yes, biology is one aspect of it. But there's many different ways that you can look at it, as far as it could be physics, it could be biology, it could be
So what's the point? Like, so that we can only go but so far back. Like
yeah,
at some
into any
point,
of those,
at some
any of
point
our
life
subjects,
began. Like right, at some point
right?
life began. So like, what are you trying to say?
And so it's like, what do you have to lose from believing that there is a God? Now, I'm not saying,
But
I'm not
this
saying
is still
that.
just Pascal's wager, though.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
but that's
point.
yeah, I'm still holding strong
Can
on that.
I answer the question?
Sure.
Yeah. So I think that what you have to lose is the ability to live a good life. Because if you can't, okay, if you allow yourself to believe things that could be false, and you're not actively working to make sure the new beliefs you get are true and that you're weeding out any false beliefs you already have, then you can't actually trust whether or not your beliefs are true. If you can't trust whether or not your beliefs are true, then you can't actually evaluate things in reality correctly. You can't evaluate things in reality reliably. If you
Well,
can't evaluate things reliably, then you can't evaluate your life reliably. If you
sir,
can't evaluate your
sir,
life reliably, then you could never know whether or not you were even able to, if you lived a good life.
sir,
And if you
what?
can't know whether you lived a good life, then you can't live a good life.
Oh my. Okay, you went down. See, I never said anything about that, right?
Yes, you
I
did. You said that what do I have to lose by believing things that aren't true?
No. How do we know that it's
That
not
is
true?
what
We
you
don't
said.
know.
Well, because you don't know whether it's true or not. So if
But
you're
you don't
allowing
know that
yourself,
it's not true, man.
Well,
if
hang
you're
on,
allowing
hang
yourself
on.
to believe things,
Hang on. Like, all right, so like aside from Pascal's wager, because seems like Pascal's wager is supposed to be like the betting man's choice. Like, well, I'll choose the better option, but like, first of all, you can't choose your beliefs, right? You just are convinced of whatever you're convinced of, and
Do
you
you
aren't
believe in
convinced.
objective morality?
I don't. Ogar does,
Okay, I
but
believe
you
in
can't.
objective morality as
I
well.
assumed as much, but you cannot choose your beliefs. right? You're convinced of what you're convinced of, and you aren't convinced of what hasn't convinced you. So like even if it's like more beneficial to believe that, like, let's say that it's true that God is real and he'll send you to hell for not thinking so. I'm not even able to like decide to believe in God, even if that's like the deal. I have to be convinced. So Pascal's wager will
Well,
not get me there. Or do you have something
so
that's better than Pascal's wager?
um, okay. Well, let me say this. I don't necessarily have an argument that's going to convince you, and I'm not going to try to, you know, have you hold to a specific doctrine because I don't hold to a specific doctrine. I just think that it's good to believe in something that a possible creationist, or yeah, some type of creationist where the actions, and the reason being the actions that you take in this life, are ultimately, you know, they could be governed by something else or a creator.
I mean, that just seems like a nice hope to have, but to
I don't think it's
believe
hope. I think it's realistic,
to believe
right?
that it's true. Okay. So why would it be like realistic? Like what would make it likely?
Well, what would make it likely? Just that there is a creator. With all doctrine set aside, the fact that there's a creator.
Yeah. Yeah, why should I think there's a creator?
I think it's more plausible than not. I think people have this idea that you know, because a creator could be anything. It could be a fart. Fuck, we don't
That's
know, but it still
Ogar's
could be.
view. It's a fart from Eunice, the universe farting unicorn who ate a spicy hypotenuse and farted out the universe. Isn't that right, Ogar?
You best believe.
Spicy
Like, don't you talk bad
hypotenuse.
about
Hey,
Eunice.
don't laugh and blaspheme. Hey,
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
this is dead
We
ass.
take
all right?
Eunice
So-
very seriously in my house.
yeah, this is dead ass. Emphasis on the ass.
All right.
So now, like,
Yeah.
but like why should we think that there is a creator? Like you said, like your response was it seems plausible to you, but like, I mean, why? Like, why should we think that it's plausible?
Well, I think it is plausible because I feel that, yeah, like I said, there's just so many things, man. There's so many things in this world.
So many that you can't name one of them.
Well, I mean, existence is a real thing, right? The fact that you and I are experiencing something in which that we can all relate. Now, I think that is. I think that's plausible for a creation. I don't know.
No, so like the existence itself, the universe itself, is only evidence of itself. It could have always existed, perhaps. I mean, I don't know if you've ever considered this as a possibility, but either the universe always existed or it didn't always exist. How do you determine whether it always existed or if it hasn't, or if it had like a concrete beginning?
Well, that's I stated that from the beginning, man. That there's
Then I
only
must have
so
missed
far
it.
that we can go back and see. I don't.
Oh, you're off the app, so I can't hear you now. I felt like that happened in mid-sentence, so I don't think you did it on purpose.
Sorry, no, I
Oh,
didn't.
good.
I was turning on my flashlight.
Yeah, we can only go. Okay, we can only go back so far. But like, why should we think that there is a beginning to the universe?
So you'll have to excuse me. I'm going in front of my computer currently.
Go in front. Yeah, look it up. Whatever you gotta do.
It just seems like in order to believe in a God, you have to believe that the universe was created. If the universe was created, then that means it was brought into existence. So then that means that we must have some reason to think that the universe was brought into existence. Otherwise, there's no room for a God.
Well, I believe that it was brought into existence.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what Lobes is asking you for, is the reason to believe that.
Well, I guess I don't have the correct words to give you in which I could convince you that it was brought into existence, other than the fact that we are experiencing.
Okay,
Yeah, but
okay.
we'd
So
be experiencing if it never came into existence and just always existed.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so that doesn't give us a reason to believe that it came into existence.
But that could actually be the case. Why can't it be both? Why can't it always existed? Um, why can't it have always have existed?
the only way I can think of marrying the it's always existed and it came into existence is like where it's
Warping
not
the
exactly
different.
that, but like there's like a first moment, but all the moments are actual, like a movie film. I use this example a lot when I try to tell people about B theory of time, where like you've got all the frames of the movie, all the slices of time, all the individual
Yeah,
moments. But there's like a first one, but all of them exist
that's what.
simultaneously and have always
Yep,
existed from a meta time perspective. That's the only
that's
way I
kind of
can
what I
think
was
of. Okay,
gonna
okay.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's at least something. Okay, that's at least something. So like, okay, but like, would you say that it seems like you're saying that you hold to B theory with a first moment, and these moments have always been actual. There was never a time, or rather a state, since we're talking about time, there was never a state where these moments didn't exist. These moments always existed.
Yeah, and maybe like an overlap is what we could consider a beginning, but I don't know whether or not you could actually get back to that, like I said.
My issue with that though is that if there's this B theory universe like this, then it, even though there's a first and last moment of time, it never comes into existence or goes out of existence. So that means that if it doesn't come into existence, it wasn't created, and if it wasn't created, it doesn't have a creator.
But it is created because we're experiencing.
No, that means that there
No.
was a state of existence where the universe didn't exist, and then another state of existence where it did exist. But you just said that you don't think that's the case. You think that all the moments in time exist eternally. But if they exist eternally, that means without beginning, without coming into existence.
I don't think it
So
has to be definitively one or the other.
no, it's either the case that the universe came into existence or it's not. That's a dichotomy, and those are the only two options.
No,
So
it's not.
What's the third
okay, well then you're
option?
just rejecting logic.
What is the what is the okay? So just to restate, either the universe
Yeah.
came into existence, or it did not come into existence and it's always existed. What's the third option?
Well, I think that they. Okay. Wait, repeat the first one again.
Either it came into existence,
So, like a finite starting point, like
right?
boom,
Like
like.
where like the universe didn't exist, but then later, but then it did start to exist, and then now it does, or it's just always existed, and you could still say that there's a first moment, but like all the moments are actual, and in that sense, it's always existed under B theory. Um, but it's I think this is a true dichotomy. What's the third option? Oh, bloody finger.
So, like, I would consider. So you're saying like essentially like life is like a ray in the sense that it started at one point and then it continues on linear. In the next direction or whatever that looks like. It starts and then it continues to go. But I
I
don't
don't
think
know. I don't know
that.
what I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not talking about life. I'm talking about the existence of the universe.
Okay, well, but I think it's okay. Um, well, okay, the existence of the universe. Okay. um, well, okay, I think that from our perception, it may seem like that there is to somebody that there's either a starting point or in your case you think that it could have just gone on forever, and if it has gone on forever, then that's fine, right? But that still doesn't
Well, I was asking what's the
say
third
that there's
option.
not a creator there.
Either it came into existence or it's always existed. You said it's not a true dichotomy. What's the third option? That was my question.
Well, it could come into existence at a point in which it's said to be existed,
Yeah, that's coming
That's
into existence.
yeah,
That's
that's the
not a
first
third
option.
option.
even though it's already existed, though, is what I'm saying. It's like,
Then that's just a contradiction. If it came into existence but it's always existed, that's just a contradiction. The third option, sure, is a contradiction. Like you could say there's a third option, but it's not a logical one.
Well, so at what point are you saying that? So you're talking about the universe just as a whole. Okay. Uh, so, but at what point is our? Because there's only so far back that we can go and we can trace these things.
That seems to
And
be the like crutch thought stopper for you, John. Anytime you get into a corner where you realize that your beliefs don't make any sense and you don't actually have a reason to believe what you believe, you then fall back to, well, we can only go back so far. Like, I don't think that's doing the work that you want it to do. Like, basically what we're saying here is either the universe came into existence or it didn't
so
come into existence.
so
Your
can
view seems to be that the universe didn't come into existence, it all just kind of exists all at once. That's fine, but that means that it wasn't created, and if it wasn't created, it doesn't have a creator.
how do you
Right.
know
It,
that
it
that means
sounds
it wasn't
it sounds
created?
no. So like John, the fact is this is a true dichotomy, and you can say that we can only go back so far. We can't determine whether it came into existence or if it always existed, but that would just make you like an agnostic atheist about it, right? It would just make you unable to decide between the two, but it doesn't change the fact that logically there's only those two options. So, and you could just stop with your atheism there and say, I don't know the answer to that question, so I can't hold the belief that it came into existence by a god, right? Because if you aren't able to determine that it came into existence by a god, then belief in a god is unjustified.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
So, but even a deist God, right? Like a hands-off creator that created something and left.
Fits in the same category, yeah.
Hmm. It's interesting, but okay, from a universe perspective, that it is tricky, right? But I don't appreciate the idea that this guy down here thinks that my worldview is I have no reason to believe in my worldview, and what
Well,
makes his.
I'm of the same like thought. I think I'm a little bit more polite, but I mean he's under no obligation to be polite. And I don't think he's been particularly rude either. You should see him on his own lives. He probably would have
Fucking
dropped you
asshole,
already.
man.
Yeah.
I'm on good behavior over here.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why
that's
we're able
good.
to. That's why we were able to have that ethical debate or not debate, but discussion we were having earlier on my live.
Yeah,
maybe
it's a lot
missed it.
easier over here than it is on my live. I get real worked up. No,
Yeah.
but what it boils down to, John, what it boils down to is you're saying I believe these things, and we're asking, okay, what are the reasons to believe those things? And then every response that you've given has not had anything to do with actually providing a reason to believe those things. So the only conclusion that I can draw is that you don't have a reason to believe the things that you believe.
Well, I
I don't know
gave you
how I
the
could draw
first one,
any
and
other
I
conclusion.
gave you the first one, and it wasn't good enough. I said,
You
"What do you
you
have to lose
Yeah, that's
from
not a
believing
reason
that
to
it was
believe it.
created?"
Yeah, that's
what
not a reason to believe it.
And who
what
says that in a place and time that a God that would be our creator? I think that your ego is too high to understand that maybe
Yeah.
you might have somebody that is bigger than you that created you.
Oh my God.
No, my dad's bigger than, well, maybe he's not. He's taller than me at least. And he created me. Well, I mean my mom, and she's smaller than me. All right, well, fair enough. Nobody bigger than me created me, but I know people bigger than me,
See,
stronger than me.
see,
That doesn't threaten me in any way.
I'm
He's
not.
got you
They
there,
didn't create
Ogar.
you.
There's people that are bigger and stronger than you. That means God
I
exists.
know.
I
I
didn't
got
say
this. I
people.
got this buddy
Did I say
Jeremy. He's a
people?
fucking
I don't think I said
monster.
people. I think
Well,
you have
God
you have
would
an
be a
idea.
person, right? Like God would be not a human.
No,
Like
see,
he would be a
that's
person.
the problem. We said that God could be a fart.
I think
No,
Remember?
God, that's
kind
not a
of.
god.
God could literally be anything, and you can't tell me that he's
I
not because
wouldn't.
you don't have an.
Neither of us would define God to be a fart. So, like under Unitarianism that I was bringing up earlier, because you
What
said
is
the
a
fart
fart?
thing,
What is a fart? It's
because
microscopic poop particles, sir. They're invisible.
because
Literally.
so. Anyways, so when I was talking about a fart earlier, that was the mechanism that the god Eunice performed to create the universe in Unitarianism. Now, the
Right.
Yeah,
fart wouldn't have been the
the
god. Eunice, the universe farting unicorn, would have been the fart. So, like, under
right.
Christianity, for example, Yahweh would be the god, and his word would be like the fart, right? He would have
That
farted
guy
out the
could.
word.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah. He
mechanism.
just shit from the mouth.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the universe is the fart in Unitarianism.
Oh, that's my bad. I don't want to like speak blasphemy here, or like
Yeah, well, I'm just saying,
heresy
like,
rather.
yeah,
Hmm.
Eunice farted out the universe. Anyway, what we're saying here is that a meaningful definition of a god is going to be something like, a personal ultimate foundation to reality. Or another way to say that would be a mind that created and sustains everything else in existence. Like, that's what it means when we talk about a god. If you're just saying, like, well, I feel like the universe probably came into existence and literally anything that could be considered in a causal relation to the universe's existence, I'm going to call a god. Well, then we're just not even having the same conversation anymore.
Right, like God would have to be personal, is I think the main component that is a contention here. God would have to be personal. Fart's not personal.
Okay. Well, and okay, I can concede at that point. I say, yes, right. Like every viewpoint is going to be different, but I think that there would have to be work that is done if there's going to be that end all be all, right? Where was there a creationist, right, or not? And I don't know if we would ever get to that point. I don't think that holding to a doctrine per se is
Okay.
the answer.
If you're saying that we could never get to the point where we determine there's a creator, then to claim that there's a creator is an unjustified claim, and we shouldn't do
Not
it
true.
if it's unjustified. Then how is it not true?
Well, I'm just saying that it's like. No, sorry. I forgot what you said. Sorry.
Oh. It wasn't that long ago. So I was saying, because you were saying that we're trying to figure out whether there was you said creationist, but you meant creator, and you said I don't know if we could ever get to that point, and that a lot of atheists say that, and that's why they're atheists. We don't know if we can ever get to a point where we can say that there's a creator, so we can't go around saying there is one. We can't go around saying we believe there is a creator if we can't justify it. If we can't justify it, we shouldn't believe it. In fact, we can't believe it if we can't justify it, even to ourselves.
So, okay, and that's a fair perspective. That's a fair perspective, and I guess where that comes down for me, it would bring me to a more personal level as opposed to this understanding of the universe, right? It's like for me personally, right? Like I said, there's only so much that I can do and figure out and how far back I need to go. Realistically, I need to be logical and concise and focus on the things that matter, right? And by me believing in a God makes me, or a creator, if you will, I don't know, whatever you want to call it to. If we're using the definition that you described as a God as a thing with a mind, I don't know if we ever went any further than that, but
Yeah, because
I would just say
like if it's not,
creator.
doesn't have a mind, then it would just be something that atheists could easily believe in. Like I think that the universe has some kind of ultimate foundation, probably. I can't reason a way to say that there isn't one. I think that because we exist, there's some kind of grounding somehow. Somewhere along the line, something's probably brute, where there is a foundation. But like to say that it's personal, where it's a god, I just think that that's just an added bunch of baloney that we don't need. I don't know how we would ever get to that.
Well, it helps. I'm saying for me personally, it helps my moral understanding of life.
So how so?
Well, it just helps my moral understanding of life to, like I said, what do I have to lose by believing that there?
That doesn't have anything to do with your morals though. What do you have? The
Yeah.
Pascal's wager doesn't have anything to do with morals. Because it helps you with morals also. That has nothing to do with the truth value of it. That's like a prudential place you're coming from. Where like, because it helps me with my morals, I'm going to believe it. And maybe it does help you with your morals. You ground it in some kind of objectivity because like God makes it objective somehow, and that's like just your view. But if that's your view, it doesn't make it actually true. Like what we're trying to get at is the truth value of it, not like how useful it is. Because maybe it's useful to you, but it being useful to you does not make it an actually true claim. Like if I believe in an afterlife, for instance, maybe there's no afterlife, but I believe in one. It's useful to me because it takes away some of the anxiety of my mortality, right? But I'm still
Mm-hmm.
wrong, right? But we're trying to get at the truth.
Interesting. And that's one perspective. That's one way of looking at it.
Mm.
I don't know if you could call yourself still wrong. And you could call it maybe it's a bedtime story is what it is.
What, God?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's. I mean,
I've thought of it that way too.
like
But also,
children are read the Bible at bedtime all the time. I was, and like
yeah.
devotionals and stuff. I used to have to read devotionals, and we had like family devotional before bed every night
Mhm.
when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bedtime story. That's a good way. Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And I think that's what doctrine, specific doctrines and religions like focus on doing. However, when you start to break away from that and maybe look at some of those things a little differently, then it can be. I still think that there's a place for it, right? In something, there's a reason why it has survived.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a reason it survived. If there was no reason for it to survive, it wouldn't have. But John, honestly, man, it feels like you don't really have a justification for it. Now, I would encourage you to continue thinking deeply about this. But I don't think we're really getting anywhere tonight, and it is time for me. So I'll let you go. But thank you for coming up, and you're welcome to come back on either Monday or Tuesday. I'll be live next, and you can come back and we can continue the conversation, all right?
All right, sounds good.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah.
Ogar, hey, thanks for joining me tonight, man. I really appreciate it, and you hung out the entire time tonight. So I don't know if you being single has anything to do with that, or maybe you have nothing to do tomorrow. But I appreciate you hanging out, sticking out the whole time.
Yeah, man. I don't have to get up as early tomorrow because I don't have work. I have other stuff going on, but I don't have work. So
Other
hang out.
stuff. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks. And everyone, make sure you're giving Ogar a follow. He's really intelligent. I think he's one of the best atheist voices out there as far as being logically consistent. Logic is a huge factor in his live, and he's really quick with his responses. He's very sharp. He's got a very successful live, and he's only been doing this for like 3 or 4 months or something like that. So definitely give him a follow. It's very entertaining. It's very direct to the point, very academic, and he gives you like 5 days a week of his time. He takes I've seen you on the weekends occasionally, but usually Ogar will give you the weekends off. Definitely give Ogar a follow. If you want to send gifts to Ogar. He definitely deserves those. With that, yeah, I'll play his shit here.
Oh God. Oh God.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, 100%. Now I won't be live tomorrow or the next day or the next day. I might be live Monday. I tell people that I'll go live Monday through Thursday. Lately, I've been skipping Mondays because, I haven't felt like doing them on Mondays. It's like I've been playing games and stuff at night, and it's just nice. But I do love doing this, so there is a chance I'll be live Monday, but I can't promise. I will be live Tuesday. I commit to Tuesdays and Thursdays and I'm pretty good about getting that spot in the middle. I get the high from the first when I started on Tuesday, and then I carry it through to Thursday. I really enjoy it. Um, Also, real quick, what y'all could be on the lookout for if you're hanging out with me this late. Um, if you are familiar with the secular perspective, if you remember Joyful Apostate, he and I had the project The Secular Perspective, where it was a dual hosted live similar to this, but it was cycling hosts, so you didn't usually have the same host 2 nights in a row. Um, and we would cover multiple different topics, very open-ended, usually not a specific prompt. Ran very similar to how you might watch Atheist Experience or The Line or something like that. And that's the general idea. So there was some drama with Joyful, and it kind of killed the project, but I'm bringing it back as my own project. And Ogar is at least tentatively agreeing to be one of the hosts that I've got lined up. And let me see if I can bring up this list of hosts. I've got a few already who are committing to at least be a part of it once a month. And that list includes obviously myself, Ogar, Cyber Deconstruction, Jaren from Christ Before Jesus, Robot Goat, Apostate Ape, Arwen, Flabbergasted, Bible Guy, The Skeptical Heretic, and I've reached out to a few other people as well. So you guys have a lot to look forward to with that. And I do need some help on the technical side too, because I want the stream for the secular perspective to be better than my own, right? So I want it to be split screen, either vertical or horizontal, whatever's the easiest thing to do, whatever makes the most sense. I want it to be dual streamed between TikTok and YouTube, and I want it to just go smoothly. So if anybody has insight or knows somebody who has insight on how to make that go seamlessly, they'll already know infinitely more than I do about how to accomplish that. Now, I won't be able to make every stream that the secular perspective hosts, because I'm going to have it start earlier than I'm able to start my own stream. So I'll probably be doing it once a week on like my off day where I can start earlier. But on another day of the week where I would be at work at the time of its start, I don't know how to yet. I'll figure it out, but I don't know if I need to have somebody start the stream for me, if I should have one of the hosts of that night start the stream, if I need to share passwords, is that necessary? So if you know somebody who can give me assistance on the technical side of that, I would greatly appreciate a DM. You could do it on TikTok, or you could join my Discord, links in the bio of my account. You could join the Discord, and I mean, you could hang out there too, but you could also just like contact me there. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Ogar, do you have any like thoughts or questions about that while we're on the topic?
No, I'm looking forward to, getting to be part of something like that. I mean, I kind of was, when we were talking about it, telling you that this is the sort of thing that I am interested in doing, and I've got other ideas of stuff I'd like to do if the opportunity presents itself. But yeah, I mean, I'm stoked about having any level of involvement, honestly. Like, I still feel like an outsider to the debate community and stuff. So yeah.
We need to change that, because you're really good at it. You already have a kick-ass stream. Your viewership's really high, especially for how long you've been doing it. And I think that's a testament to how good you are at it. The first moment I saw you, I was thinking, this guy belongs on Atheist Experience, and that's the first time that I joined your live to like tell you that. So yeah, like you need to be in the fold. Now, as far as starting TSP, I would definitely need people to commit to. I would need people to like tell me that they're committing to like a certain amount of time. Like everybody who I've listed has agreed to do it at least once a month. So that kind of clears it out. Ideally we do like maybe 3 streams a week. So that's with 2 hosts per stream. That's roughly 24 host spots per month. So I would need people who are like, I'm going to be able to do it weekly, not without exception, but like weekly, or maybe like tentatively 2 times a week, that's kind of a lot. So I don't expect people to do that, but every other week or once a month, if I get people who are able to commit to like once a week, then get off the ground faster because I won't need as many hosts to fill the spots, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think I can do once a week. I don't see any
right.
reason why I couldn't do that. I mean, I'm already, like you said, I'm already streaming 5 days a week, and after this weekend, I'll have even less to do on the weekends.
I
So
just don't
I
want you to get
probably will
burnt
end up
out, is the
doing.
thing, you know? Like, I guess it would be a little bit
Yeah, no, I
different.
get that, but doing like it's so much easier for me to do this than it is to do my own live. And obviously doing, Secular Perspective will be a little bit different than this, but like it'll also be easier than doing my own live. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Right.
as much like um
Yeah. It's
I don't know, it's
co-hosts.
just
You're not bearing the whole
also
weight of the whole burden of the live on yourself. You don't have
yeah.
to respond to every single point. If you want to think about something, you have the time to do it while somebody else already has the quick response. Yeah.
Well, and I'm also like, I'm getting less burned out now because I'm more comfortable doing it too. So like I'm not really super worried about it. So I mean, I'm already thinking about moving to doing 6 days a week anyway, because
Holy
like
shit.
obviously that's not necessarily going to be every single week, but like, I mean, it is. I love doing this. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm
It's
doing
fun,
it.
man. Yeah, it's fun. You're riding the high. That's great. Yeah, I mean,
Well, and I learn, and it motivates me. Even if I don't learn on the streams, I learn in preparation for them. I get motivated to learn because like I hear an argument and I think, oh, I probably could have handled that better. I wonder what other people have said about it. Or yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Like I don't know. It motivates me to learn. It's yeah. Anyway, yes, I want to be involved in
yeah.
it. I could do once a week. I think no problem.
Yeah, I was thinking about having you, because I think that's what you had tentatively agreed to when we had the phone call. Um, I was thinking about having you like take over Sundays, like Ogar plus somebody else, and I guess that would kind of make you a staple. If you're weekly, you would be weekly like me. So then I would
Sure.
have like you and me would be weekly. Um, so we would be like the most regular, and we would still have cycling hosts. So I guess like I'm thinking like I would be maybe Tuesday, you would be Sunday. And I don't know what other day I would do. What I would love to do, if I do only 2 days a week starting out, that's definitely a possibility, and it would be easier to start that way too. Maybe I could do that, because then I might even have enough already to like start it. And there are a couple of people that I could reach out to who might be more down to do it. I've been thinking about reaching out to Tiny Science. I don't know why I haven't, to be honest, because he was a part of TSP before. But usually he doesn't want to put on his camera, and I do want it to be pretty like professional, and you have your camera up, and we're like side by side, and that's how we ran it before. And he was doing it.
Sober.
He was doing it then. You what?
Sober.
Sober?
Yeah. His username is like sober squared.
No.
Oh,
Tiny
he's a math
Science.
dude. No. I'm saying another person.
Oh, you suggesting somebody? Oh,
Yes.
well, I don't think I know who that is. DM me their
Oh,
name, and I'll
yeah.
look at them and like with the options. I reached out to J Mike too. He's not good at DMs, so I also reached out to Philo Dragon to be like, hey, um, make sure he sees his DM. I don't know if that's like something that's gonna happen. But I reached out to the big ones too. You know, I reached out to like Justin, I reached out to John Cohen, I reached out to Thinker, I reached out to Joel. I haven't received a response from them. No biggie. Joel was a part of it for a day or two before, and Justin was a part of it too, briefly. It wasn't like a monthly thing even. It was just like a special guest kind of deal. But I'm really hopeful that we can get some of these bigger names in too, to help like drive the engagement. I think it could be really special. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be thinking about this some more, and definitely, dude, if you or if anybody in the chat has any suggestions, DM me the suggestions either on TikTok or on Discord. Both are fine. Yeah. Well, any final thoughts before I get out of here?
No. Thanks for having me as always, and yeah, thank you. I got nothing more than that.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for joining me as always. I'll see you guys next week. Um, who's live right now? We could do a raid perhaps with the
Dude, I
39
always
of us.
forget to do that.
Yeah, well, you end with a
Always
nice
forget.
philosophical lesson, usually, which is very
Oh,
sweet. I don't think you're doing it wrong by doing that. Um, it would have been nicer if I still had the usual engagement to like send like a bigger group of people over to someone. Hey, why don't we just do Yodi? Yodi's a usual guy I try to send people to. Everybody go to Yodi. That's YOTI, Yodi.
It's a yachty. Hey, 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 hey. Yachty, 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 yachty. It's a yachty. Yachty, 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 yachty. It's a yachty. Bitch.
See you guys over there.